Morris presents The Bickersons, starring Frances Langford and Lou Parker. Believe in yourself. Yes, believe in yourself. Compare Philip Morris. Match Philip Morris. Judge Philip Morris against any other brand. Then decide for yourself which cigarette is milder, tastier, more enjoyable. Believe in yourself, and you'll believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. And now, Philip Morris presents The Bickersons, produced and broadcast, transcribed from Hollywood, starring Miss Frances Langford and Mr. Lou Parker. Together they will portray the lead characters in Philip Raff's humorous creation, The Bickersons. And as the battling John and Blanche, they will bring you an unretouched picture of domestic tranquility. But first, here's Lou Parker as Lou Parker.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening. I'm quite sure you're all waiting to meet that gracious young lady who has earned the undying love and gratitude of our boys both here and overseas for her tireless efforts in still another role. Here she is, the Purple Heart Girl, Miss Frances Langford.
Thank you, Lou.
Frances, before we put the gloves on for our Bickerson stint, I have a little favor to ask of you.
Anything you want, Lou.
Well, it isn't for me, although I'm sure I'll enjoy it. A couple of weeks ago, when you were entertaining the servicemen at the Long Beach Veterans Hospital, one of the boys fell in love with you.
Only one?
Well, this one's doing something about it. He's written a letter to you asking that you sing a song especially for him. His name is Terry Amico of Ward N3. The song he'd like to hear is Blue Skies. Okay, Frances?
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. So with the help of Tony Romano and his orchestra, this is for you, Terry. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, oh my, how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, oh my, how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies, no more gray skies, nothing but blue skies from now on.
Friends, in a moment, we'll have a look in at the Bickersons. But first, I'd like to have a word with the most important person in the world when it comes to choosing a cigarette. That person, of course, is you. We of Philip Morris believe that no one's taste is more important to you than your taste. No one's judgment is more important to you than your judgment. That's why we ask you to believe in yourself. That's why, unlike others, we of Philip Morris never ask you to test our brand alone. That's no test, because it gives you no choice. We say compare Philip Morris, match Philip Morris, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Then make your own choice according to your own taste, your own judgment. In short, believe in yourself. Later, you'll hear an interview with an actual smoker, not an actor, not a paid performer, but a real person who will make the only fair cigarette test, the Philip Morris nose test. I know you'll be interested, so stay with us, won't you? Now, light up a Philip Morris, and let's join Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. In the Bickerson bedroom, there is an infernal machine. With a persistent, inexorable ticking common to all time bombs, it gradually approaches the hour that will shatter the ears and destroy the happiness of the unsuspecting John. It's a matter of seconds now. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I wish I was dead. All right. All right. All right. Blanche. Blanche.
Wait a minute, I'm putting a ribbon in my hair.
Where are you going?
I'm not going anywhere. Just thought I'd like to look nice for this morning.
Why?
I knew you'd forget. You did forget. Today happens to be our wedding anniversary.
I didn't forget it.
Then why didn't you say something?
I just opened my eyes.
Well, we've been married 8 years. What do you want to do?
Nothing. It's too late now.
I mean, haven't you got any plans for tonight?
Sure, I got it all worked out. I'm going to take you to dinner and a burlesque show.
No, you're not. I'm having a party tonight.
Then what did you ask me for? Where's my pants? Somebody stole my pants.
Nobody stole your pants.
I just looked under the bed and they're not there.
Here are your pants.
Thanks. Blanche, these aren't my pants.
Then whose pants are they?
That's a good question. Only I should be asking it.
Don't be so funny in the morning. They were baggy, so I pressed them.
Baggy. Hand me my tie.
Which one?
Doesn't matter. I want to use it for a belt. My suspenders are broken.
Why don't you use your belt?
I'm using it to keep the soles from falling off my shoes.
John Bickerson, your shoes...
I know it. I haven't got a belt. Where's my shirt?
Your coffee's getting cold.
I don't want any coffee. Where'd you hide my shirt?
Didn't hide it anywhere.
Well, where is it?
I draped it around the canary's cage.
Is my shirt the only rag you can find to cover that cage with?
Hasn't hurt it any, has it?
No, but I don't like the way that bird pokes into my pockets. Every time I take a cigarette out, I'm smoking birdseed. Why do you have to cover the cage anyway?
The canary is sensitive to light.
Well, get him a pair of sunglasses and leave my shirt alone.
Why must you be so mean on our anniversary?
Blanche, I'm not mean. I'm worried. I haven't sold a single vacuum cleaner for 4 weeks.
You sold one on Thursday.
I know, but we bought it. I had to sell something to keep from getting fired. I'd like to take it back, Blanche. I can't make the payments on it.
You leave it alone. We'll need it when we get a carpet.
Okay. Bye.
John!
What?
I've been standing here waiting for you to kiss me goodbye, and you haven't even looked at me.
I looked at you.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing, Blanche. I'm late. Wait a minute. You got any money?
Well, there's a quarter in the sugar bowl.
A quarter?
You can bring me the change when you come home.
Now, listen, Blanche. Something's got to be done about this. I can't get out of work like a pauper every day. A man's got to have a couple of dollars in his pocket.
Well, don't yell at me.
Well, I don't mind going in torn clothes, holes in my socks, but I'm not going to suffer through those lunches anymore.
What's the matter with your lunches?
You ought to know. You pack them for me. Just getting sick of carrying my lunch to work in a paper sack. Why can't I go to a restaurant like the other fellas? Why can't I
John,
order a...
what are you talking about? I haven't fixed your lunch for 2 years.
Oh, Blanche, every morning of my life I find my lunch wrapped in brown paper on the side of the sink.
Lunch? That's the garbage.
No wonder nobody wants to swap sandwiches with me. Goodbye, Blanche.
Goodbye, dear, and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, dear sister.
Oh, thanks, Clara. Where's Barney?
I'm here. Clara's getting late. Why don't you tell her?
Tell me what?
Barney can't come tonight. He's been invited to a masquerade party at the United Nations pool hall. You know, his friend's place.
No.
Tell her already.
Well, anyway, he wants to go, and it's sort of a hard times party. Everybody's going dressed as a bum.
What are you telling me for?
Well, I thought maybe he could borrow some of John's clothes.
Well, that's a nice thing to say.
Barney, come away from that closet.
Why can't I borrow this old gray suit? Them raglan shoulders are way out of style.
Oh, I forgot about that suit. John never wears it. It just hangs there. You can have it, Barney.
Oh, thanks. The boys will get a kick out of those open-toed pants. You coming, Clara?
In a minute. Blanche, I wonder if you'd mind lending me your vacuum cleaner.
Well, I can't do that, Clara. It's never been used. It's still in the box.
Oh. Well, what's the matter with John's sample?
He's using it for demonstrations. How do you suppose he sells his vacuum cleaners?
With his disposition, I'll never know.
Good morning, madam. I'm from the Eagle Appliances, paying a call in answer to your letter
I'm
that you...
sorry. You're 20 minutes late, and I've got an appointment at the dentist.
Well, you see, I'll only take a few minutes
I
of your
can't
time.
wait. I'm getting my bridge today.
But I just want to see you about...
I'm sorry. Not now. I've got to get to my dentist.
What good are teeth if your house is dirty? Oh, well. How do you like that? 5 o'clock and I haven't even got a foot in the door yet. Well, this is my last call. I'll have to high pressure this one. I've been giving up too easy. Good afternoon, sir. I represent the Eagle Appliance Company, and I'm about to give you your wife a demonstration that will simply amaze her.
My wife ain't home.
Well, no matter. If you'll just follow me into your living room.
Hey, get out of
Ah,
here.
here we are, and a charming room it is, too.
Look, Buster.
Now then, let's just empty these ashtrays on the floor.
What are you doing?
The wastebasket is full, too. Well, we just scatter this junk all over the place.
Listen, you cut that out.
Now, don't be alarmed, sir. Now I'm going to go over this rug just once. And if this vacuum cleaner doesn't pick up every single last speck of this filth, I'll eat it.
Well, you better start eating, mister. Our electricity's been shut off.
Oh, hiya, Bickerson. Your wife just called.
Yeah.
It's your anniversary, huh?
Yeah.
What's the matter? Forget to get her a present?
I think I got her one present too many. Picked up a couple of cheap things at first, then I got sentimental and bought her a diamond ring.
A diamond ring?
On time. Nothing down and $10 a week for life. 3 weeks behind on the first payment. Say, listen, Mom.
Oh, no, you don't, Bickerson. I got no money. And if I did have any, I wouldn't lend it to you. You still owe me $4.
I know that, but
Nothing
after...
doing. If you need money, sell a vacuum cleaner.
Hmm? Yeah. Sell a vacuum cleaner. Yeah. Say, how much will you give me on this vacuum cleaner?
Does it work?
Oh, it's brand new, right off the shelf. It's worth $115. Give me 20 and let me get out of here.
Well, all right. You wait here. I'll go make out the ticket.
Fine.
Police headquarters.
This is the Argyle pawn shop. I think I've got the man you've been looking for, the cat burglar.
It was a wonderful anniversary party, Mrs. Bickerson. Too bad John couldn't make it.
I can't understand it, Dr. Hersey. He's never been this late before.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it. He probably got tied up with some tough customer.
Probably. Good night, Doctor.
Thanks, officer. I'll be over in the morning to claim the vacuum cleaner. Please make sure they take my name off the police blotter.
Bickerson, what happened?
Oh, hello, Doc. Nothing. It's a long story. I'll tell you about it some other time.
Well, I certainly enjoyed your party. Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
Oh, I didn't want to tell your wife, Bickerson, but I left a little something for you on the hall table.
Well, thanks.
You needn't pay it until the 10th. You can mail it in with last month's bill. Or if you pass the office, drop in.
Drop dead. Oh, I'm out on my feet. I'll probably be up all night answering Blanche's questions. What a life. If I tell her the truth, she won't talk to me for a week. So, I'll tell her the truth.
In a moment, you'll hear the truth from poor John Bickerson. Right now, we invite you to hear the truth on a more serious matter. You'll hear it not from an actor, not from a paid performer, but from a real person. from a smoker who was interviewed by our roving reporter in the lobby of the Battle House in Mobile, Alabama. Let's listen.
Hello there. This is Bob Pfeiffer. While we've been arranging our microphone here in the lobby of the Battle House in Mobile, Alabama, my assistant has been locating a volunteer to try the Philip Morris nose test. Frank, how are you doing?
Okay, Bob. Bob, I'd like you to meet Mr. Richard Hewitt from Fairhope, Alabama. Mr. Hewitt is not a Philip Morris smoker.
Thanks, Frank. Mr. Hewitt, it's mighty nice meeting you.
We're glad to meet you, Bob.
Now about the test. Would you do me one favor? For obvious reasons, we don't want you to refer to your present cigarette by its brand name. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Now, I'd like to give you a Philip Morris cigarette, Mr. Hewitt. I wonder if you have one of your own brand handy, do you?
Right here.
Fine. Now, I want you to light up one of these two cigarettes. Doesn't matter which one you try first, so you make the choice.
All right.
Which one do you want to try first, sir?
My own brand.
Your own brand first. I see it's also one of the leading brands. Now, I'll give you a light, then I want you to take a puff, don't inhale, and slowly let the smoke come through your nose. All right, sir, that was your own brand first. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right, let's try exactly the same test now with the Philip Morris, remember? Give you a light, then take a puff, don't inhale, and slowly let the smoke come through your nose. All right, Mr. Hewitt, you tried the test by your choice, first with your own brand, then with the Philip Morris. You made exactly the same test with both. Now, what we want are your reactions. Did you notice any difference between the two cigarettes?
Oh, I think there was a little less, or quite a bit less, burn in the Philip Morris.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hewitt.
Remember this. The test you just heard is entirely voluntary, and no promise of any kind, no payment whatsoever is made for any statement in the interview. Friends, the Philip Morris nose test is the only fair test, for it allows you to compare, match, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Yes, try this test. Believe in yourself, and you too will believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. And now, the Bickersons. The Bickersons have retired. Blanche Bickerson lies tense and sleepless in the dark as poor husband John, tortured by the guilt of having missed his own anniversary party, suffers another attack of intermittent insomnia, or woodchopper syndrome. Listen.
Sounds like he swallowed the thing. Oh, dear. John, turn over on your side. Go on. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Stop it, Blanche. What's the matter? What's the matter, Blanche?
Whining and giggling and grunting and snorting is driving me crazy.
Me too, Blanche. Who's doing it?
You're doing it. It amazes me that you can sleep at all with your guilty conscience.
Not guilty. Put out the lights.
I will not. I've got plenty to say to you.
Blanche, what's the matter with you? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You had a good time tonight. Now, why don't you let me sleep?
I had a miserable time. It was the unhappiest anniversary I ever spent. Why didn't you show up for the party, John?
I told you I got stuck at the office.
Funny, nobody else got stuck. And everybody who came tonight was sweet and thoughtful, and they all brought presents.
Good.
That's more than you did. The Homers were here, and they brought something. The Hydes were here, and they brought something. Even my sister Clara was here.
What did she take?
She didn't take anything. And if she didn't bring a present, it's because she can't afford it. Barney isn't working.
He never works.
He does, too. It's just that he's recovering from his accident.
What accident?
When he was out looking for a job last month, he tripped over a barrel and 2 cases of bourbon fell on his head.
It was the first time the drinks were ever on him. Go to sleep, Blanche.
You said you didn't have dinner. Why didn't you eat something when you came home?
There wasn't anything left.
Well, who told you to come home so late? Clara took what was left of the ham, and Dr. Hershey cleaned up the spaghetti. I gave Nature Boy the rest of the chicken.
Who's Nature Boy?
Our cat. Did I hear him yell when you came in?
I stepped on him.
Well, what'd you do that for?
I was fighting him for the chicken bones. What do you mean, what did I do that for? It was dark, and he got under my feet.
You never liked that cat.
I like him fine. Just keep him out of my way.
You hated the other cat we had.
Which other cat?
Shiners, the big black one.
Shiners?
You know, The one you said committed suicide after you caught him drinking your bourbon?
He did commit suicide.
I'd love to believe that.
What are you hitting at, Blanche? Cats have been known to commit suicide.
They don't hang themselves.
He didn't hang himself. He got his neck tangled in a ball of twine, and I was trying to loosen it when you walked in. Now, don't start making me into a cat killer.
A man who could forget his own anniversary is capable of anything.
I tell you, I didn't forget.
Not even a card. The least you could have done was send me an anniversary card.
I did send you a card. I told you 50 times I sent you a card. Must have got lost in the mail.
Swear you sent me a card.
I swear. It was trim with lace, and it had a wonderful poem on it. I picked it especially for you.
What did it say on it?
Go to sleep.
Well, if you picked it especially for me, I want to know what it said.
It said, happy anniversary to my love.
That could be anybody.
Let me finish. It said, happy anniversary to my love. My wife, my life, my turtle dove. Life with you is great, it seems. I love you more than pork and beans.
You're only adding insult to injury.
Well, how do I know what it said? I can't remember the stupid poetry they put on those things. Put out the lights.
You torture me every year on our anniversary.
Oh, dear.
Am I so old and homely that you can't show any affection or sentiment? The trouble with you is you're tired of me.
No, I'm just tired. Good night.
Look at George Wood. There's a wonderful husband for you. He's been in love with the same woman since the day he was married.
Does his wife know about her?
Never mind the sarcasm. If you didn't have those evil thoughts, you'd make a better husband. I'm not a demanding wife. All I ever ask from you is a pleasant smile or a kind word. Wake up, John.
What do you want?
Say something nice to me.
I love you. I adore you. I can't live without you. Now shut up and go to sleep.
Scream at me on our wedding anniversary.
You'll just keep quiet for a while. I won't scream.
I'm going to talk whether you like it or not.
I don't like it.
Don't forget, Mr. Bickerson, I gave you the best years of my life.
Were those the best?
Keep it up, John. Night after night, I go to sleep crying into my pillow. It's soaked through from my tears. And one kiss would make it all perfect.
Well, throw over your pillow and I'll kiss it.
You see, you're starting again. Is it asking too much for you to be nice to me once a year?
I'm always nice to you.
You never are. You're perfectly horrid. You'd never have a single argument if you'd just give me a little attention.
Well, nobody gives you as little attention as I do.
Well, I'm surprised you admit it. You never take me anywhere. You never show me the slightest consideration.
What consideration? Don't I offer you half the newspaper every morning at breakfast?
You shouldn't read the table at all. When you drive the car up in front of the house, you might be a gentleman and help me in.
Help you in?
Oh, no, I have to fling open the door and throw myself onto the seat.
Well, I slow down, don't I?
Oh, I'd like to see you act that way with Gloria Gooseby.
Now, don't start with Gloria Gooseby.
You'd sure be a gentleman if you had her in your car.
I've had her in my car plenty of times, and I've never been a gentleman.
What?
I mean, I hate Gloria Gooseby. I wouldn't let her ride on my running home. Why don't you let me sleep, Blanche?
We've had 8 anniversaries. This is the most miserable one of all.
It's no worse than last year.
Our whole marriage started on the wrong foot. It was your idea to elope, not mine.
Yep.
I wanted to have a real ceremony like all my friends, but you said it was more romantic to elope. We had to be married by the Justice of the Peace.
Should have been the Secretary of War.
You didn't talk that way then. Why didn't you let me have a big ceremony, John?
I wasn't working at the time. I didn't have any money.
Well, you're working now, and I want a real wedding with a big ceremony.
Okay, I'll arrange it next week.
You say it, but you won't do it. Do it now.
What?
Go on, get up and let's get married.
Are you out of your mind, Blanche? It's almost 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have to go to work at 7. Why do you do this to me? Haven't I suffered enough for one day?
You haven't suffered half as much as I have. I go to all the trouble of making an anniversary party, and you deliberately stay away.
It wasn't deliberate.
Why don't you say you're sorry you married me?
Because I'm not sorry.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Do you hate me?
You know I do.
What?
I mean, I don't hate you. Will you please let me sleep?
Well, I will as soon as you show me the anniversary present you got for me.
Put out the lights.
Where is it, John?
Where's
my anniversary present?
No, you won't like it. It's just a little old beach bathrobe. It cost $8.
$8? Our 8th anniversary, and that's all I'm worth to you? $8?
Now, listen here, Blanche.
$1 a year for washing your shirts, cooking your meals, darning your socks, raising your children?
We haven't got any children.
Well, what do you want for $1 a year.
Blanche, all I want is sleep. I'll get you something nice tomorrow.
You told me that yesterday. Today's my anniversary. Why couldn't you get me something nice today?
I did, Blanche. I did get you something, but I can't give it to you now. Go to sleep.
What did you get me?
A diamond ring.
Wake up, John. I'm still talking to you.
I'm not sleeping. I really bought it for you.
A diamond ring?
Yeah.
Where is it?
What's the difference? I can't afford it. I'm taking it back in the morning.
I don't believe it. Show it to me.
It's right there in the closet, in the pocket of my old gray suit.
Your gray suit? You mean the one I gave Barney?
That's right. In the left-hand the one you gave to Barney. Blanche, you didn't.
Don't get hysterical. I emptied out the pockets. The stuff's on the dresser. There wasn't any ring box.
It wasn't in a box. I tied it in my handkerchief. Oh, thank heaven. Here it is.
Oh, John. It's beautiful.
It's got to go back. Take it off.
Such a lovely diamond.
Take it off, Blanche.
Look at it.
I've seen it. Take it off.
Here. Well, it's nice to know that you were thinking of me anyway.
I'm sorry, Blanche. I did want you to have it, but you can see how impossible it is.
I know, dear. You've got enough debts now. It was a wonderful, foolish gesture, and I love you for it.
Keep the ring, Blanche.
Don't be silly, John. You can't afford it.
Keep it. I'll find a way to pay for it. I'll get an extra job or something. Don't worry. Go to sleep.
John. You can be so sweet when you want to. I'm so happy. This feels just like when we were first married. You were so kind and considerate. You do love me, don't you, John?
Yes, Blanche, I love you. Good night.
I remember our first anniversary. You were so upset about something, and I kissed you good night and tucked you in bed like a baby. In the morning, everything was fine.
Go to sleep, Blanche.
John, would you mind if I just tucked you in bed tonight?
Okay. Tuck me in.
Lift your head, dear, so I can straighten the pillow. Now, let me get these covers under. Stretch out your feet. There, that's it. Now, all tucked in.
Thanks, darling.
Are you comfortable, sweetheart?
Perfectly.
Are you sure?
I never felt more comfortable in my life.
Fine. Now, you get up and tuck me in.
Good night, Blanche.
Happy anniversary, John.
Francis Langford and Lew Parker are standing by for a curtain call. In the meantime, for America's finest cigarette, here's another call well worth remembering.
Call for Philip Morris.
Remember, Philip Morris is definitely less irritating, definitely milder than any other leading brand. Remember, no cigarette hangover means more smoking pleasure. So,
Call for Philip Morris.
now, here are John and Blanche Bickerson as Francis Langford and Lew Parker.
Well, Francis, that puts the lid on number one for Philip Morris. And I might add that I couldn't think of a more pleasant way of spending a half hour than working opposite you.
Why, thanks, Lou. I think you do a pretty good job yourself.
I think so. Let's hope the listeners agree with us and that they'll be around next week for another session with the battling Bickersons. And the honeymoon is over. Good night, Francis.
Good night, Lou. Good night, everyone.
Be sure to listen next Tuesday night when Philip Morris again will present the Bickersons. And don't miss the Philip Morris Playhouse this coming Thursday night over this same station. In the meantime, don't forget to...
Call for Philip Morris.
The Bickersons came to you transcribed from Hollywood, California. John Holbrook speaking. Philip Morris presents The Bickersons, starring Frances Langford and Lew Parker. Believe in yourself. Yes, believe in yourself. Compare Philip Morris. Match Philip Morris. Judge Philip Morris against any other brand. Then decide for yourself which cigarette is milder, tastier, more enjoyable. Believe in yourself, and you'll believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. They fight, they yell, they squabble and squawk, but they love each other as much as any married couple in the world. That's Frances Langford and Lew Parker, stars of Philip Rapp's humorous creation, The Bickersons, produced and broadcast, transcribed from Hollywood. And here is John Bickerson himself, Lew Parker.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening. Before we go any further, on behalf of Frances Langford and myself, courtesy demands that I thank you for your many kind letters regarding our first program. But inasmuch as you didn't send any, we'll dispense with that formality. Instead, I'd like to take this opportunity to present my favorite actress and singer, lovely Frances Langford.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we mentioned on our first show that Frances would sing any number requested by a boy in the service. So if you're a GI, drop us a line. Tonight we've chosen a letter from the first Army man to come back from Korea, Corporal Thomas L. Alvarez, who's at the Wadsworth VA Hospital. And he'd like to hear On the Sunny Side of the Street. Is that in your book, Frances?
Right on page 1.
Good.
So with the help of Tony Romano and his orchestra, this is for you, Tommy. Get your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear that pitter-pat? And that happy tune is your step. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade, but now I'm not afraid. This rover crossed over. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shades with those blues on parade, but now I'm not afraid. This rover crossed over. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny, sunny side of the street.
Friends, in a moment, we'll have a look in at the Bickersons. But first, I'd like to have a word with the most important person in the world when it comes to choosing a cigarette. That person, of course, is you. We of Philip Morris believe that no one's taste is more important to you than your taste. No one's judgment is more important to you than your judgment. That's why we ask you to believe in yourself. That's why, unlike others, we of Philip Morris never ask you to test our brand alone. That's no test, because it gives you no choice. We say compare Philip Morris, match Philip Morris, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Then make your own choice, according to your own taste, your own judgment. In short, believe in yourself. Later, you'll hear an interview with an actual smoker. Not an actor, not a paid performer, but a real person who will make the only fair cigarette test, the Philip Morris nose test. I know you'll be interested, so stay with us, won't you? Now, light up a Philip Morris, and let's join Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. The Bickersons are at the breakfast table. Adhering to the belief that it's wise to start the day with a substantial meal, they set to diligently at the groaning board. Blanche is groaning and John is bored.
John, you're not listening. I've been talking to you for 5 minutes and you haven't heard a word I said.
Have to.
What did I say?
You said, John, you're not listening.
I mean, before that.
I wasn't listening before that.
What?
I'm sorry, Blanche. I got to finish these sales reports. What did you say?
Well, for your information, Lorraine White's husband got her a new Cadillac last week.
Good.
And Elsie Block is on her third mink.
Well, her husband's a butcher. They can afford to eat mink and wear steaks.
Well, why aren't you a butcher?
What butcher?
You just didn't have enough brains to see the beef boom coming.
Listen, Blanche, I don't know what you've got on your mind this morning, but I haven't got time for it.
Well, I'm just sick of going around dressed like a pauper. Wherever I go, all the women point at me and say, there goes Bickerson's wife. Look how she's dressed.
For heaven's sakes, look how I'm dressed, and I'm Bickerson. Forget about mink coats, Blanche. We can't afford it. Where's my hat?
You're wearing it. Where are you rushing? You've still got 15 minutes and you haven't eaten a thing.
I haven't time. I'll eat out.
Why don't you eat at home?
I'm not hungry now. Save it for my supper tonight.
It won't keep. I saved it from your supper last night. I'm not going to throw away perfectly good food.
Well, then give it to the cat.
You hate that cat, don't you?
Blanche, please, I'll be late. Where's my vacuum cleaner?
You're wearing it. Must you carry that hose around your neck?
I only have 2 hands. Open the door.
Here, take the orange juice squeezer with you.
Is that thing broken again? Cost me $6 to have it fixed last week.
Well, they didn't do a good job. The first time I used it, an onion got caught in the motor. Why don't you fix it?
I'll fix it tonight.
You say it, but you won't do it. Do it now.
What?
Go on, take off that vacuum cleaner and fix the orange juicer.
Blanche, I gotta go to work. I can't be fixing orange juices.
Well, you've been screaming about saving money.
All right, I might as well. I don't make $6 a day. Give it to me.
The tools are in the bread box.
Hello, Mrs. Bickerson. Here's your fur coat. I put a new label in. Nobody noticed it.
Shh, keep your voice down. My husband's still here.
Oh, well, I'll bring it back later, huh?
No. Please, Mr. Strum, I can't afford it. You'll have to give me my money back.
Money back? I already changed the label and dyed the collar.
I can't help it. I have to have the money back, please.
Blanche!
Just a minute, John. Listen, Mr. Strum, take the money over to Barney's house and leave it there. I'll do business with you some other time.
Who is that at the door?
I told him we didn't want any. Did you fix the orange juicer?
I fixed it.
How could you fix it? Needed a new motor.
I hooked it up to the vacuum cleaner.
Does it work?
It works fine, except it sucks up the juice and spits the pits in your face. So long, Blanche.
Clara, why did you make me rush all the way over here? What's so important that you couldn't have told me over the phone?
Barney's friend, Mr. Sturm, was here. You know, the furrier.
Oh, good.
Pass the ketchup.
Did he leave the money?
No.
Well, what did he leave?
He left town.
Oh, Barney.
Don't worry, I got the coat.
But I don't want the coat. I can't afford to keep it. Barney, you've got to get that money back. It's John's insurance money.
So what? He's good for years yet. More of them goat ribs, Clara.
Stop eating so much and help me figure out a way to get that money back.
The best way is to ask John for it.
He hasn't got it.
He hasn't got it.
Well, he'll get it. There's always money for an emergency.
What emergency?
What emergency?
Barney, go into your den. I want to talk to Blanche alone.
Secrets. Every time they got secrets, I have to go sit in my den. Give me some of that rutabaga pudding. Thanks. Goodbye.
It's very simple, Blanche. John's so soft-hearted. Tell him that Mother's sick and you have to go visit her.
But I don't want to go all the way to Omaha.
You don't go to Omaha. You get the fare from John and come stay with us for a few days.
Well, if if you really have to go, Blanche, if your mother is that sick, I'll make the sacrifice and let you go. But I'm going to miss you terribly.
What are you smiling at?
Nothing. I was just thinking of a funny thing one of my customers
Never mind. Where's the fare?
It's in the sugar bowl. I was saving it for my
But
insurance.
don't touch that.
What?
Get away from that bowl, John.
What's wrong?
Well, something terrible would happen if I used that money.
Huh?
It's bad luck. Everybody knows it's bad luck to give insurance money to a wife to use for fare to visit a sick mother.
I never heard of such a thing.
All right, I won't go.
Wait a minute. If you're so superstitious, I'll withdraw the money from our Christmas fund savings.
Well, fine.
I'll pick up the train ticket at the same time.
Oh, you can't do that.
Why not? It's no trouble.
It isn't that. It's bad luck.
Everything's bad luck. What do you want me to do?
Well, you've got to give me the cash right now and let me buy the ticket myself.
Well, the only money I've got on me is the vacuum cleaner installments I collected today.
Now, that's good luck.
Here are the groceries, Mr. Bickerson. Is Mrs. Bickerson away?
She's been gone 3 days. Her mother's been sick. Put that stuff in the kitchen.
Where's the kitchen?
Right behind that stack of dirty dishes in the doorway. Watch your step.
Maybe you'd like my wife to clean up for you while Mrs. Bickerson is gone. My wife is a fine housekeeper.
I'll manage.
For a couple of dollars, she would clean up that big pile of dirty laundry.
That's my bed. You got any matches? I've used up a whole box trying to light this stove. Thanks. I'll handle it now. Let's see. Where are the eggs?
Here.
What are you staring at? Lots of people like to fry eggs in their coffee.
Sure.
What do you mean, sure? You think you can do better?
I think so. If you like, I make you anything you like.
All I want is an omelet.
You mean just plain omelet?
Yes.
Okay. Now you chop up this onion while I melt the cheese and open up some beans.
Plain omelet. Here's the chopped onion.
You didn't peel it.
I never peel it. It spoils the vitamins. Why is there a mushroom-shaped cloud coming out of that pan?
The top fell off of the chili powder. I'll stir in some cornstarch.
You want me to slap the eggs in?
Oh, you don't need the eggs.
Huh?
Spoils the taste. Get a plate, Mr. Bickerson. She's ready now. Plain omelet.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Here's a $50 for your trouble.
Oh, thank you.
First time I ever saw a dish like this.
First time I ever made it.
Hello?
This is the long-distance operator. Are you the party who placed a call to Omaha?
Yes.
Well, the number still doesn't answer. We'll keep trying and call you back.
Thank you. Hello, Clara. How was the movie?
No good. Barney's seeing it over. Wish I hadn't gone. Did you give little Ernie a bath?
No. Listen, Clara, I don't see why a 14-year-old kid can't bathe himself.
What's the matter with you, Blanche? You've been on edge for 2 days.
I'm sick of this. Barney engineered the deal with the coat. You made me lie to my husband.
Now, don't blame Barney. He's put himself out plenty to make you comfortable here.
Comfortable? You've been using me for a scrub woman and a nursemaid and a laundress, and on top of it all, I have to sleep in the bathtub. I'd rather go home and take the consequences.
You make it sound like I'm getting some gain out of it, Blanche. After all, who's going to get the pleasure of the mean coat? You or me?
I am. So if you don't mind, I wish you'd take it off and let me get out of here.
Well, sooner or later, the truth will out for poor Blanche Bickerson. Right now, we invite you to hear the truth on a more serious matter. You'll hear it not from an actor, not from a paid performer, but from a real person, from a smoker who was interviewed by our roving reporter at the entrance to Central Park on Fifth Avenue in New York City. Let's listen.
Hello there. This is Jay Jackson. While we've been arranging our microphones here at the entrance to Central Park on Fifth Avenue in New York City, my assistant has located a volunteer to take the Philip Morris nose test. We all set, Frank?
All set, Jay. Jay, I'd like you to meet Miss Marilyn Jaffe from Bronx, New York. Miss Jaffe is not a Philip Morris smoker.
Thank you, Frank. And how do you do, Miss Jaffe?
How do you do?
About this test, let me ask you one favor. For obvious reasons, please don't refer to your present cigarette by its brand name, okay?
All right.
All right, Miss Jaffe. Now, let me offer you a Philip Morris cigarette. There we are. Do you happen to have one of your own brand handy? Mm-hmm. Fine. Now, which of the two cigarettes would you prefer to light first, Miss Jaffe? It makes no difference.
Philip Morris.
The Philip Morris first? All right, let me light it for you. Then I want you to take a puff. Do not inhale, and let the smoke come slowly through your nose. That's the idea, and that was the Philip Morris first, right? Now, Miss Jaffe, let's try exactly the same thing with one of your own cigarettes. I notice that's also one of the leading brands. I'll light it for you. I want you to take a puff. Do not inhale, and let the smoke come slowly through your nose. That's the idea. Now, Miss Jaffe, you've tried exactly the same test with both cigarettes. The Philip Morris first, and then your own brand, right?
Right.
Tell me, please, what difference, if any, did you notice between the two cigarettes?
The Philip Morris is milder.
You found that the Philip Morris was milder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miss Jaffe, you've just confirmed the judgment of thousands of other smokers who have also found that Philip Morris is milder. Thank you so much, Miss Jaffe.
Remember this. The test you just heard is entirely voluntary, and no promise of any kind, no payment whatsoever is made for any statement in the interview. Friends, the Philip Morris nose test is the only fair test, for it allows you to compare, match, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Yes, try this test. Believe in yourself, and you too will believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. Now, back to Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. Well, Blanche is back in her own bed again. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, but tortured by guilt, Mrs. Bickerson lies tense and awake in the darkness as poor husband John suffers through another attack of undulant insomnia, or Blaster's reflex. Listen.
Like sleeping with a one-man band. John! Turn over on your side. Go on. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Stop it, Blanche. What's the matter? What's the matter, Blanche?
I'm going out of my mind. Haven't you caused me enough trouble for one night?
What trouble? What's the matter, Blanche?
Why didn't you let me in when I came home from Mother's tonight? I knocked on the door till my knuckles were blue.
I didn't hear you.
You didn't want to hear me. Stood out there in the hall completely exhausted. Fell asleep twice. What other man would let his wife sleep in the hall, John?
John Hall.
You'd better not be so funny, Mr. Bickerson.
Blanche, I'm not being funny. I'm just sleepy, that's all.
I finally had to wake the janitor to let me in. Was never so embarrassed in all my life.
Nothing to be embarrassed about.
Oh, no? He opened the letterbox to look for the extra key and found this pint of bourbon.
Give me that.
What was it doing in the letterbox, John?
That's my dividend. I belong to the Bottle of the Month Club.
That's why we never have any money. You squander every penny on bourbon.
I don't squander anything on bourbon.
Not much. The whole house is full of empty bottles. Where did they come from if you didn't buy them?
I never bought an empty bottle in my life, and you know it.
Why don't you get rid of them? Answer me, John. Why are you so attached to a lot of dead bourbon bottles?
I was with them when they passed away. Blanche, you spent a few days with your mother and you had a good rest. Now you come home and you're twice as jumpy.
Well, I can't help it. You act like you hate me.
Blanche, darling, I don't hate you.
Are you sorry I came home?
You know I am.
What?
I mean, no.
Did you miss me?
Yes.
I don't believe it. You never missed me for a minute.
I tell you, I did.
Well, say it.
I missed you for a minute. Please put out the lights and let me get some sleep.
Nobody knows how I suffer. I take a long trip to Omaha and come home to have you scream at me.
I'm not screaming.
You might at least ask me how I enjoyed my trip.
I'll ask you in the morning.
You knew my mother wasn't feeling too well. Wouldn't hurt for you to ask how she is.
How is she?
What do you care?
I don't. I'm just trying to be polite.
Well, you needn't try. I'm fully aware of how much you despise my family, and they feel the same way about you.
Is that so?
Yes, it is. In all the years we've been married, you've never cared about a single member of my family.
How can you say that, Blanche? Not a day goes by that I don't inquire the state of your rich uncle's health.
I don't like the way you inquire.
What do you mean?
It isn't nice to keep asking, is the old goat dead yet?
Blanche, I just wish you'd let me sleep for one night without disturbing.
I didn't disturb you for a whole week, did I?
3 days.
All right, 3 days. Just hate to think of what you've done to this place since I've been gone. Suppose you left a stack of dirty dishes in the sink.
No dishes.
Were the animals fed regularly?
Every day.
Did you put fresh sand in the cat's bed?
Hmm.
The water in the goldfish bowl should have been changed on Sunday.
I changed it. I cleaned up everything.
How's the canary?
I don't know. I haven't seen him since I vacuumed his cage.
John Bickerson!
No, don't blow your top. The canary's fine.
Did you give him his bath?
I gave him his bath, I powdered his tail, and I plucked his eyebrows. What do you want from me, Blanche?
Where's Nature Boy?
Who's Nature Boy?
The cat. Did you let him out tonight?
No.
Why not?
He never came in. Listen, Blanche, I knock myself out working all day, then come home and have to play nursemaid to a broken-down canary and an alley cat.
He's a beautiful cat, and I love him.
I hate him.
Well, you wouldn't feel that way if you got a little friendly with him. It's easy to make up to a cat.
Hmm.
Why don't you bring him something to play with?
I'll bring him a dog in the morning. Good night.
What was that?
What was what?
There's a mouse in the room, John.
There's no mouse.
I swear I heard a mouse squeak.
Well, what do you want me to do? Get up and oil it?
Oh, it's the cat. Poor thing looks half starved since I've been away.
He ate more than I did. Go to sleep, Blanche.
Suppose I'll have to get some groceries tomorrow. Are there any eggs for breakfast?
No.
Then you'll have to eat out.
I don't care. I've been doing it all week.
Well, don't blame me. I worked for 3 hours before I left to bake you a lovely rhubarb pie. I'll bet you didn't even touch it.
It didn't look good.
What was the matter with it?
Who ever heard of a pie 2 feet long?
Well, I couldn't get any shorter rhubarb. And I can't understand why you didn't eat home. I left enough food for a week. I cooked a whole bathtub full of rice. What happened to it?
I took a bath in it.
Why didn't you eat it?
I've told you 1,000,000 times I can't stand the sight of rice.
Why not?
Because it's connected with one of the saddest mistakes of my life.
All right, John Bickerson. Just for that, I'll never do another thing for you. No more cooking.
Good.
No more laundry.
Wonderful.
Maybe you won't be so smug if you don't get a clean tablecloth.
I can eat without a tablecloth.
I'm not talking about eating.
What do you mean?
What do you think you've been sleeping on?
What? What happened to the bed sheets? Why do I have to sleep on a tablecloth?
Well, it was too soiled to use on the table, but not dirty enough to go to the laundry.
Now, listen to me, Blanche. I work hard for a living, and I want to sleep on a bed sheet.
Well, I work hard, too. It's about time you got me a maid.
You had a maid.
Yes, but how long was she with us?
She was never with us. She was against us from the start.
Well, she was no good anyway. She never swept behind the door.
She did, too. She swept everything behind the door. I can't afford to hire any maid, and you know it. Put out the lights and let me get some sleep.
I can just hear you raising your voice to Gloria Gooseby.
Now, don't start with Gloria Gooseby.
Believe me, if you were around her for a little while, you'd cool off in a hurry.
I've been around her for hours, and I never cool off. What? I mean, I wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Now, why does she keep staring at you like she's hypnotized?
She doesn't stare. It's just that she wears those outlandish dresses, and they bring out her eyes.
They bring out yours, too.
Now, listen to me, Blanche.
Oh, hush up and go to sleep.
Go to sleep, she says. Put sand in my rhubarb. Gives me rice baths. Gloria Gooseby. My head is splitting. I'll never sleep another wink as long as I...
John. The telephone. Answer it.
Hello.
Go to the phone and answer
It must be 4 o'clock in the... Oh! Put on the lights.
The lights are on. Take off your sleep shade.
Hello.
We're ready now on your call to Omaha.
What call to Omaha?
Better give it to me, John.
Here is your party.
Let go, Blanche. I'm not going to be charged for a call to Omaha that I didn't make. Operator.
Hello? Is that you, John? What's wrong with Blanche?
Nothing's wrong with Blanche, Mother. Why?
Give me the phone.
In a minute.
Hello.
John, you're keeping something from me? Why did Blanche try to call me from Clara's house?
From Clara's?
Give it to me, John, before it's too late.
Let go. I tell you, there's nothing wrong with Blanche. She's fine.
Then why doesn't she ever come to visit me? It's been 2 years since I've seen her.
2 years, huh? Just a minute, Mother. I'll put Blanche on.
Never mind, it's too late.
Go on, Blanche. The least you can do is talk to your poor sick mother that you haven't seen in 2 years. Get on the phone.
Hello?
What's wrong, Blanche? He been beating you?
Not yet.
What?
Nothing, Mother. It was all a mistake. I'll call you back in the morning.
But Blanche...
I've got to hang up now, Mother. Something's burning.
In the middle of the night, what could be burning?
Me.
Goodbye, Mother.
You better start talking, Blanche. Why did you tell me you were going to Omaha?
Now, don't get angry.
Where's the money I gave you for fare?
Fair?
Yes, fare. Where's the money?
I haven't got it.
What have you done with the money, Blanche?
Sit up, John. I bought a mink coat.
A mink coat? How much was it?
Lie down, John.
Blanche, how dare you go out and spend money on a mink coat? We can't afford a mink coat.
Don't scream at me.
I deny myself everything. I've been nailing rubber heels on my socks to save on shoes. Last week, I hocked my fillings to pay the dentist bill. I never spend a penny on myself. And she has to have a mink coat.
You bought a tie last week.
It wasn't a tie. It was a rope to hold my jacket together. Where's the coat? Let me see it.
Oh, you love it, John. It's not nearly as expensive as you think, either. Barney said it was a steal.
Barney? Oh, that chiseler.
Here. Isn't it gorgeous?
Well, take it out of that burlap bag.
It isn't in any bag. That's the coat.
What kind of a coat is that? It hasn't got any fur on it.
That's the latest style, silly. Bald mink.
Bald mink? How can you squander my good money for a bald mink?
It's nice and cool for summer wear. Look at the lovely cuts. Aren't the pockets roomy?
They won't even hold a quart. Take that coat back, do you hear me? I'm not going into debt for any bald-headed minks.
Oh, John, how can you be so cruel?
Take it back.
Please, John.
No.
Please.
Oh, what's the use?
I love you, John. You're the most generous and wonderful husband in the world.
Go to sleep, Blanche.
Can I keep the coat, John?
How I slave and sweat to keep body and soul together. Deprive myself of every tiny luxury to make both ends meet. It isn't worth it. In one fell swoop, she squanders 2 years' savings. What's a man got to live for? I wish I had the courage to... I think I will. Nobody cares about me anyway. One shot and I'll find peace.
John!
Wonderful bourbon. Good night, Blanche.
Good night, John.
Francis Langford and Lou Parker are standing by for a curtain call. In the meantime, for America's finest cigarette, here's another call well worth remembering.
Call for Philip Morris.
Remember, Philip Morris is definitely less irritating, definitely milder than any other leading brand. Remember, no cigarette hangover means more smoking pleasure. So...
Call for Philip Morris.
And now, here are John and Blanche Bickerson as Francis Langford and Lou Parker.
Well, Lou, have you got anything to say?
Let me sleep, will you, Francis?
He's still John Bickerson. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Be sure to listen next Tuesday night when Philip Morris again will present the Bickersons. And don't miss the Philip Morris Playhouse this coming Thursday night over this same station when Philip Morris will present Miss Rosalind Russell starring in True Confessions. That's Thursday night for the Philip Morris Playhouse over CBS. In the meantime, don't forget to...
Call for Philip Morris.
The Bickersons came to you transcribed from Hollywood, California. John Holbrook speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Behrens.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know there are many times when you feel completely fed up with radio commercials, especially cigarette commercials that don't give you credit for having a mind of your own, that talk to you as if you were a 12-year-old. And I know you've often wished that someday a sponsor would come along and give you what you really want. Not jingles or double talk or wild claims, but the simple facts and a fair opportunity to use your own intelligence, your own common sense, to make your own decision about the product. In a moment, I know you will hear a Philip Morris program. You will notice that at no time in that program will your intelligence be insulted by fictitious surveys or paid testimonials or song and dance sales talks. I'd like to make one thing clear. You hear all kinds of claims about honesty in advertising, all kinds of claims about the number of smokers who have switched to a particular cigarette. Now, the real fact, the true fact, is simply this. In the past 3 years, Philip Morris gained more smokers than all other leading brands combined. No other cigarette can make that statement. This outstanding record by Philip Morris is confirmed by the published estimates of Harry M. Wooten, consultant on the tobacco industry, and is based on the highest authority, official releases of the United States government. Thank you.
And now Philip Morris presents Frances Langford and Lew Parker, starring in Philip Rapp's humorous creation, The Bickersons, produced and broadcast, transcribed from Hollywood. Now, here is Lew Parker as Lew Parker.
Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Frances Langford, in her other role as the Purple Heart Girl, and much more like her real self, has volunteered to sing any song requested by the boys of our armed services. This week, we were really bombarded with mail for one of her outstanding favorites. So, Frances?
Yes, Lou?
For about 65 GIs, would you sing exactly like you?
I'd be glad to sing it for 65,000 of them, Lou. So, with the help of Tony Romano and his orchestra, this is for you, fellas. I know why I've waited, know why I've been blue. Prayed each night for someone exactly like you. Why should we spend money on a show or two? No one does those love scenes exactly like you. You make me feel so grand. I wanna hand the world to you. You seem to understand each foolish little dream I'm dreaming, scheme I'm scheming. I know why my mama taught me to be true. She led me for someone exactly like you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here are Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over.
John,
Wait a minute.
come on out from under that car. I want to talk to you. John!
What do you want, Blanche?
Where's Nature Boy?
Who?
The cat. I haven't seen him all morning. I think he's lost.
He's not lost. He's under the car with me.
Where? That black alley cat isn't ours. Nature Boy has a golden coat.
That's him. I've been petting him.
You've been wiping your hands on him. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, John Bickerson.
Well, he had no business to come sniffing around while I was changing the brake fluid.
Fine way you picked to spend your vacation. Under a car.
I'm trying to fix it so we can go for a ride.
I don't want to ride in this thing. You've got a whole week off from your job. Why don't you do something with it?
What do you want me to do?
Go down and collect your unemployment insurance.
I can't do that. You know I'm getting paid while I'm on my vacation.
Well, you're not getting as much as you'd get from the Unemployment Bureau.
I can't help it.
Why can't you quit your job for a week and collect?
If I quit for a minute, they'd never take me back. Vacuum cleaner salesmen are a dime a dozen.
Stop waving that oil can around. It's pouring all over the seat. Wipe it up, John.
Okay, hand me that cat.
You leave him alone. How much longer are you going to be?
I'm almost finished. Grab hold of that wire, will you, Blanche?
This one?
Yeah. Feel anything?
No, why?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if it was connected to the battery.
John Bickerson!
Oh, take it easy. The battery is dead anyhow.
Now, you're not going to get a new one. You've squandered enough money on this car.
What are you talking about? The only things I bought in the last 2 years are a windshield wiper and a crank handle.
If you didn't throw money away on all those fancy accessories, you could afford a decent car.
Nothing wrong with this car. Anybody will tell you that 1932 was a great year for Essex. Better move, Blanche, unless you want to get this paint over you.
Are you going to paint the tires?
I have to. The tubes are showing through.
John, if you take my advice, you'll trade this thing in.
I'm not making any trades unless I can get a good deal.
Well, how do you know you can't? Have you tried the Smiling Irishman?
I tried the Smiling Irishman.
What did he say?
He didn't say anything. He laughed out loud.
Because you're not a good salesman. I'll bet my brother-in-law Barney could make a good trade for you.
Barney.
Barney's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
He can get things from people.
He got plenty for me, all right.
I wish you were more like him.
Hmm.
Barney makes good everywhere he goes. Even when he was in the Army, he worked himself up to a field marshal.
He worked himself up to a buck private.
How can you say that? You know very well we got word that he was made a field marshal.
He was a private, and he was court-martialed. Not field marshal.
Well, what's the difference? Court-martial, field marshal. Stop wasting your time with that pile of junk and come in and have your lunch.
Later.
But your creamed anchovies are getting cold.
I don't want any creamed anchovies. Throw them away.
I will not. I've got a good mind to eat them myself.
Fine.
If I get indigestion, it's your fault.
Hi, Blanche.
Barney, how did you get in here? The front door was locked.
I had a key made.
What'd you do that for?
For your own protection, Blanche. I always check my friends' apartments for prowlers when they're not home.
Prowlers?
Yeah. And let me warn you, never hide money in the sugar bowl when you're not home, Blanche, because that's the first place a crook looks.
How did you know I had money in the sugar bowl?
I just guessed it.
Well, it's only $4.
$3.65. Listen, Blanche, have you decided yet where you're going to spend John's vacation?
Not yet. Why?
Well, I'm in the real estate business now, you know.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, just a few exclusive summer rentals. I'm the sole agent for Leo Gooseby's summer cottage. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It would be perfect for you and John. Every modern convenience. Wood stove, oil lamps, and you don't have to go very far for water. It's right in the edge of a swamp.
Swamp? I heard it was near a lake.
It was, but it dried up. They've got the most beautiful cactus there now.
Well, Barney, I don't
You can have the dump for $25 and I'll waive my commission.
Well, that is a bargain. But I don't know. John hates the country.
He don't know what's good for him. The country's healthy, and the altitude might cure his snoring.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't slept a single night in 4 months.
You sure look it. Believe me, I'm thinking of your health, and I won't make a dime on the deal.
Well, I know it would be good for John if he'd only try it, but how am I going to get him up there?
Oh, that's easy. Get him to give you a driving lesson, and while you're driving, keep driving right up to the Gooseby's.
Barney, you've got the most wonderful, conniving brain.
Oh, it's nothing. I'll notify Leo that you're going up there. So long, Blanche.
Thanks, Barney.
Oh, by the way, Blanche, as long as you're going to be away for a week, do you mind if I use your apartment?
What for?
Well, you see, I'm throwing a big poker party tonight for the gang from the United Nations pool hall.
Well, I don't think John would like it.
Blanche, what he don't know won't hurt him. Besides, I'll cut you in on my poker winnings.
Well, I could use the money. How do you know you're going to win?
We're using my cards.
Here, John, put these in the back seat.
Blanche, you're only going to drive around the block. What do you want with 3 suitcases?
I'm taking them to the laundry.
What for? They're not dirty.
The laundry's inside. Well, you're going to teach me to drive, or aren't you?
Get in.
All right. What do I do?
Shift the first, let out the clutch, and feed the gas slowly. Have you got that?
Yes?
Start the car.
Seat's too far back.
It's not too far back.
But I can't see the radiator cap.
Why do you want to see the radiator cap?
How else can I aim it?
You steer it. You don't aim it. It's not a weapon. Let's go.
Don't rush me. Now, let's see. Put the clutch in. Shift to first. Let the clutch up. Easy. Feed gas. There. Well, why aren't we moving?
You didn't start the motor.
What motor?
The one that comes with the car. What do you mean, what motor?
Don't snap at me.
I'm not snapping. Start the car.
Oh, all right.
Wait a minute. Stop. Stop. Stop.
What's wrong? Am I going too fast?
You're not moving. Take your foot off. The motor won't start unless you turn on the ignition.
Where's the ignition?
On the dashboard there. The key is in it.
Why do you have to lock it? Nobody's going to steal your ignition. How's that?
Wonderful. Now put it in first. Let the clutch out easy and you'll roll slowly and smoothly. There. Now make a right turn.
John, I'm doing so well. Why can't I keep driving straight?
Because you'll be on the highway in 2 minutes.
Well, that's all right. I know a good wide driveway I can turn around in.
What driveway?
At the Gooseby Summer Cottage.
Are you out of your mind? They're 100 miles from here.
47. I looked it up on the map.
I don't care if they're around the corner. I'm not ruining my vacation by visiting the Goosebees. Move over. I'll turn the car around.
Now, wait a minute, John. I'm only doing this for you.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's business. The Goosebees need a vacuum cleaner.
You know how I hate the... They need a vacuum cleaner, huh?
Yes, and this is your chance to sell them one.
Well, why didn't you tell me right away?
Well, I didn't think of it till now. Aren't the Goosebees fortunate to have a summer cottage?
It serves them right.
I wish we had a place in the country. It's so nice and healthy.
Not for me. The altitude is bad for my sinus.
What do you mean?
Makes me snore like the devil.
Leave the dishes on the sink, Blanche. You can wash them after you make the coffee.
All right, Gloria.
Well, how did John like the idea of renting our cottage?
Haven't told him yet.
Let's go tell him.
John, take that vacuum cleaner off the table. You're sucking up the sauerkraut.
Just trying to show Leo how it picks up breadcrumbs.
I'm convinced. Now I suppose you folks are anxious to see the rest of the house?
Not particularly. Now, this cleaner
Come on,
has
Blanche,
a...
I'll show you around. You'll love the bathroom. It's just a short way down the road.
Well, John, what do you think of my place?
Lots of insects, huh?
Oh, just mosquitoes. But when the rain stops, they go outside. Mm-hmm. You know, John, they don't build places like this anymore. This interior is solid beaver board.
Where's the wall plug? I'd like to show you how this thing works.
Now, please, Bickerson, not again. You're acting like a man that's trying to sell me a vacuum cleaner.
Huh?
You're a little late, old man. Last Friday, your brother-in-law sold me one wholesale.
He did? Wait here a minute, Leo. Blanche! Blanche!
What's wrong, John?
Where did Barney get a vacuum cleaner?
He borrowed ours last Thursday. Why?
He sold it to Leo on Friday.
Wonderful. Are you going to get him a commission?
I'm going to fracture his skull. Blanche, why did you tell me the Goosebees needed a vacuum cleaner?
Well, it was the only way I could get you up here.
What did I want to get up here for?
John, I just wanted you to see the place. We're going to rent it for a week.
Get in the car.
Well, now, wait a minute, John. We can't leave now.
Are you coming with me or not?
John, listen to me, John.
You can't drive home now.
I wouldn't stay here for $1 million.
You said yourself the tires were so thin you could see the tube.
Who cares? I've got a spare in the trunk.
No, you haven't. I took it out to make room for the vacuum cleaner.
Blanche, you didn't. We're 50 miles from home. Do you realize what could happen without a spare tire?
What was that?
I don't know, but I hope I'm shot.
In a moment, we'll rejoin the Bickersons. Right now, it's time to join our roving reporter, Bob Pfeiffer, for the story of his interview with an actual smoker in Alexandria, Virginia. Okay, Bob Pfeiffer.
Hello there. This is Bob Pfeiffer. While we've been setting up our microphone here in Alexandria, Virginia, Frank Higgins, my assistant, has been locating a volunteer to try the Philip Morris nose test. Are we all set now, Frank?
All set, Bob. Bob, I'd like you to meet Mr. H.M. Cornell from Alexandria, Virginia. Mr. Cornell is not a Philip Morris smoker.
Thank you, Frank. How do you do, Mr. Cornell?
How do you do, Bob?
About the test now, sir, I'd like to ask you one favor. For obvious reasons, we don't want you to refer to your present cigarette by its brand name. Is that okay?
That's perfectly all right, yes.
Now, Mr. Cornell, let me offer you a Philip Morris cigarette. Do you have one of your own handy?
I do, yes.
All right, sir, then we're all set. Which one would you like to try first?
I'll try the Philip Morris first.
Philip Morris first? All right, I'll give you a light, then I want you to take a puff, do not inhale, and slowly let the smoke come through your nose. That's fine, Mr. Cornell. That was the Philip Morris first, right?
That was right.
Now let's try exactly the same test with your own cigarette, which I notice is also one of the leading brands. Here's a light, sir. Remember, take a puff, do not inhale, slowly let the smoke come through your nose. That's the way, sir. Now, by your own choice, you tried the Philip Morris first, then you tried your own cigarette, and you made exactly the same test both times. Did you notice any difference between the two?
Yes, I did. The Philip Morris was much milder than my own brand.
The Philip Morris was much milder than your own brand?
Yes, it was.
Well, Mr. Cornell, you've just confirmed the judgment of thousands of other smokers who also found that Philip Morris is milder. Thank you so much, sir.
Remember this. The test you just heard is entirely voluntary, and no payment whatsoever is made for any statement in the interview. Yes, try this test. Believe in yourself, and you too will believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. And now, the Bickersons. Well, Blanche Bickerson's well-meant plan to spend a week in the country has turned into a nightmare. After wasting 3 hours trying to fix a blowout on his car, poor husband John has graciously accepted the Gooseby's snarling invitation to spend the night. Unfortunately, the sadly unequipped cabin leaves much to be desired in the way of sleeping accommodations. So the Bickersons have retired. John is sleeping with Leo Gooseby on the porch, while Blanche doubles up with Gloria. Listen.
Are you asleep, Gloria? No. Oh, I hate to impose on you this way. Are you sure you wouldn't rather double up with Leo?
I'd sooner see Leo double up by himself.
John's not sleeping anyway. He's got the most awful condition, Gloria. It's some rare kind of insomnia and keeps us both awake all night. I can just see him lying in that strange bed with Leo, tossing and struggling to get...
Be kidding.
Oh, brother. That's enough for me. Hey, Bickerson. John! John! Yes, dear.
Sit up. What's the matter with you, John?
Matter? What's the matter? What's the matter with you, Blanche? You look horrible.
I'm not Blanche, I'm Leo.
Oh, go to sleep, Leo.
I can't sleep. The only reason I'm in here is because I had a beef with Gloria. But if I had known that you'd snore like this...
Not so loud, Leo. You'll wake up the dames. First thing you know, you'll have Blanche in here, and then nobody will sleep.
What's the matter? Don't you two get along either?
Get along fine.
I don't know. My whole marriage is one big beef. John, Do you ever have words with your wife?
Lots of them, but I never get a chance to use them. Good night.
Oh, nuts, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to sleep in my own room.
Who is it?
It's me, Leo. I want to sleep in there.
Won't it be too crowded?
You better go in with your husband, Blanche. He's blasting my ears off.
Well, turn around while I put my robe on. I knew this setup was no good. Good night. John Bickersons, cut it out! Stop it, stop it, stop it!
Stop it. What the devil's the matter with you, Leo? You keep waking me up like that nagging wife of mine. You're even beginning to look like it. What are you wearing that pink nightgown with... Blanche! What happened? Where's Leo?
You blasted him out of here.
Put out the light.
I will not. I haven't closed my eyes.
Close them.
Can't. I'm worried about the animals at home. Hope you locked the back door. Cat got out 3 times last week.
Cat won't get out tonight.
Where'd you put him?
In the bird cage.
In the bird cage? Where's the canary?
In the cat.
John Bickerson!
Stop knocking yourself out. Nothing happened to the canary, and the cat's fast asleep in the oven.
Don't scare me like that. Are you sure all the animals are taken care of?
I'm sure.
Well, how about the fish bowl? Did you heat up the water for the new baby goldfish?
I heated his water, gave Miss Pablum, burped him twice, and changed his diaper. Now, will you please put out the lights and let me sleep?
You'd have been asleep a long time ago if it hadn't been for your snoring.
Can I help it if I snore?
Yes, you can. Dr. Hersey says you snore because you have a long uvula and it flutters against your palate.
Put out the lights.
He says he can fix it with a very simple operation. Why don't you let him fix it, John?
I'll go see him next week.
You say it, but you won't do it. Do it now.
What?
Go on, get up and let Dr. Hersey pull out your uvula.
Are you out of your mind, Blanche? It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to let that broken-down horse doctor hack off my uvula.
He doesn't hack, he snips.
I don't care if he knocks it off with a hockey stick. Nobody's going to fool around with my uvula. Put out the lights.
Try and come up here in your broken-down car. It's all your fault.
My fault? You had some scheming plan to rent this place. I said I didn't want to come.
I spent the most miserable 3 hours in that room with Gloria. She talked so much I got hoarse listening. She kept trying to pry into our private affairs, but I told her off in no uncertain terms. Believe me, I was outspoken.
I don't believe it.
What do you mean?
Nobody can outspeak you.
Well, I have to talk sometimes. You do plenty of talking. You sure jabbered away with Gloria. Give anything to know what you were talking about.
Blanche, they can hear you in the other room.
I don't care. I saw you two at the dinner table playing footsies.
Footsies?
Yes, footsies.
I wasn't playing footsies. I was reaching for my shoe under the table, and I accidentally brushed against Gloria's cat.
What were you doing with your shoes off?
I had a bottle of bourbon strapped to my leg, and I was trying to pull the cork out with my toes. Are you satisfied?
The gown that woman wore tonight. She ought to be arrested. But you loved it, didn't you?
Now, don't start that.
Anybody could look pretty with the money she spends on clothes. Every time Leo wants a kiss, he has to buy her a new dress. Believe me, you're fortunate you've got a cheap wife like me.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
You were married to Gloria Gooseby. You have to pay for her kisses.
I'm not married to her, and I get them for nothing.
What?
I mean, I hate Gloria Gooseby.
Go out of my way to make myself attractive for you, but it's just a waste of time. It's been years since you paid me a compliment.
Blanche, you're the most charming, gifted, beautiful, and sensible wife in the whole world.
But you don't love me.
I must love you. Who else would put up with you?
The way you talk, you think you saved me from being an old maid. I had more boyfriends than any of the girls in our crowd. I could have married any 6 of them.
Yep.
I had my pick.
And they had their shovels.
They did not. They were the wealthiest, handsomest, most intelligent boys in town.
Then why did you marry me?
For spite.
What'd you have to spite me for?
It wasn't you. It was another man.
Well, you killed 2 birds with 1 stone.
All those promises you made. Before you married me, you told me you were well off.
I was, but I didn't know it.
married me. I can see it in every word you utter. You hate me.
Oh, I don't hate you.
Well, you don't love me.
You know I do.
Well, you never say it.
I say it 1,000,000 times a day. What do you want me to do? Carry a sign?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take my next week's salary and hire a skywriter to write the words in the sky.
Honest, John?
No, Madman Bickerson. Leave me alone and let me go to sleep.
I can't sleep.
Why not?
I'm never able to sleep in a strange place. I'll be up all night.
All right.
John, what are you doing?
I'm packing. Get dressed. We're going home.
Home? We can't go home.
Why can't we?
We have a flat tire and there's no spare.
What do I care? We ride home on the rims. Come on, Blanche.
Now, wait a minute, John. You're so tired you can't see straight. You might fall asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. It's worth a try. We made it. Now we can get some sleep.
Wait, John. Before you go in the house, just answer one question. Do you love me?
Oh, Blanche.
Please, I've got to know. Do you love me, John?
Yes, I love you. Now get the bags and let's go in. Wait a minute. Who left that light burning in the living room?
I didn't. Must be prowlers.
Prowlers?
Yes. We better not go in there, John. Let's go to a hotel and sleep. They might be gone by the time we get back.
If there's anyone in there, I'll take care of them. Give me that jack handle.
No, wait, John. I might as well confess. I loaned the apartment to Barney for a poker game with a bunch of his pool room friends.
What did you do that for?
Don't scream at me. I didn't want to lend it to him. Barney talked me into it.
He did, huh? Well, I'll take care of Barney and that bunch of bums.
What are you going to do, John?
I'm going to throw them out one by one. You stand here and start counting as they come flying out.
One.
Stop counting, Blanche. It's me.
In a moment, Francis Langford and Lew Parker will return for a curtain call. But first, may I make a friendly suggestion? You've heard the Philip Morris nose test. You've heard that Philip Morris is less irritating. Why not try that test? We believe you'll find that Philip Morris is not only less irritating, but also more enjoyable, smoother, better tasting than any other cigarette. And now, once again, here are John and Blanche Bickerson as Francis Langford and Lew Parker.
Lou, before I forget, I've been meaning to invite you out to my house. Why don't you come over tomorrow and spend the day with us?
Oh, thanks, Francis, but I can't make it tomorrow. You see, I've got a club meeting.
Well, how about Thursday or Friday?
Sorry, club meeting.
Every day?
Except Sunday and Monday.
Well, what sort of a club is it, Lou?
Well, just a bunch of fellas get together, and we pay our dues and then go home.
Sounds weird. If you pay dues every day, you must really have a beautiful clubhouse.
You should see it. It's called Hollywood Park. If you're ever in the neighborhood sometime, drop in and see us.
Good night, Lou.
Good night, Francis. Good night, everyone.
The Bickersons came to you transcribed from Hollywood, California. John Holbrook speaking.
And now, Philip Morris presents Francis Langford and Lew Parker, starring in Philip Rapp's humorous creation, The Bickersons, produced and broadcast, transcribed from Hollywood.
Call for Philip Morris. Call for Philip Morris.
And now, here is John Bickerson as his other self, Lew Parker.
and gentlemen, and good evening. Before we engage in our weekly marital bout, I'm very happy to announce that the response to Francis Langford's offer to sing songs for the GIs has been overwhelming. Did you hear that, Francis?
Yes, I did, Lou, and it's very gratifying.
Well, in order to take care of the request, Franny, you're going to have to dedicate your song tonight to all the boys at the Letterman General Hospital in San Francisco. To a man, they want to hear Somebody Loves Me.
I'd love to do it for them, Lou. So with the help of Tony Romano and his orchestra, this is for all the boys at the Letterman General Hospital.
Somebody loves me. I wonder who. I wonder who he can be. Somebody loves me. I wish I knew. Who can it be? Where is he? For every guy that passes by, I shout, hey, maybe you were meant to be my ever-loving baby. Somebody loves me. I wonder who. Maybe it's you. Shout, hey, maybe you were meant to be my ever-loving baby. Somebody loves me. I wonder who. Maybe it's you.
Now here are Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. A minor accident can sometimes be a blessing in disguise. Witness the change in John Bickerson as he ministers to poor Blanche, who is suffering from an ankle sprain.
John, dear.
What do you want now?
Don't be short with me, darling.
I'm not short. I'm exhausted. What do you want?
My ankle is killing me. You better call Dr. Hersey.
You don't need it, Dr. Blanche. Your ankle will be fine once you get out of bed and walk on it.
I don't think I can walk on it, John.
How do you know till you test it? Go on, kick the cat a few times and see how it feels.
Stop it. I should have called Dr. Hersey last night.
Blanche, I've done everything for your ankle that a doctor would have done. Didn't I sit up till 2 o'clock in the morning massaging it with chicken fat?
Chicken fat. You and your insane remedies.
What do you want from me, Blanche? I can't keep waiting on your hand and foot. If I'm late for work, I'll lose my job.
You think more of your job than you do of me.
Blanche, I'm late. I stayed up half the night taking care of you. Now I gotta rush to the office and get to sleep. Work.
Why can't I call Dr. Hersey, John?
What do you want that horse doctor for? He can't help you.
He can, too. He took very good care of Louise Shaw when she had her baby, and he can do the same for me.
Blanche, aren't you expecting a little too much of a sprained ankle?
Don't be so funny. Dr. Hersey's a good doctor, and you know it.
Fine doctor. No matter what's wrong with you, he says take 2 aspirins and call me first thing in the morning.
John, I wonder if you're jealous of Dr. Hersey.
I'm not jealous, Blanche. I'm just suspicious of a doctor who gets presents from an undertaker.
You'll be sorry if you don't let me call Dr. Hersey, John. I'm sure my ankle's broken.
I won't be sorry. I mean, your ankle isn't broken. There isn't even a bruise. I'm going, Blanche.
What about the cat?
What about it?
Did you fix him his breakfast?
No, I didn't fix him his breakfast. There's nothing wrong with his ankle. Let him fix it himself.
Please, John, it'll only take a minute.
What'll I give him?
Just give him a dish of cottage cheese and mix in a couple of raw eggs.
Eggs? Blanche, why does the cat have to eat eggs at $1.10 a dozen?
They're good for him. Eggs make his coat glossy.
Lee's leftover enchiladas are good enough for him.
Will they make his coat glossy?
Yeah, they'll put a shine on his pants, too. Is there any other little thing you'd like me to do, Blanche? You want the windows cleaned or something? I've only got almost 3 minutes before I'm due at the office, you know.
I'll manage now.
Fine.
John,
What is it now?
I'm worried about the back door. The hinges are loose.
They're not loose. I fixed them with Scotch tape this morning.
Well, that won't hold. And with you out of the house, I'm worried.
What are you worried about?
Suppose some prowler breaks in here and finds me and carries me off.
It'll serve him right. Bye, Blanche.
Come in. The door's open. Oh, hello, Clara.
Blanche, aren't you ashamed to still be in bed at 2 in the afternoon? I've been up an hour already.
I sprained my ankle last night. I can't walk.
Oh, that's terrible.
Doesn't hurt too much now.
Good. Then could you go over and keep an eye on my kids while I'm shopping?
What's the matter with you, Clara? I told you I can't get out of bed.
Oh. Well, as long as you're going to be in, I'll send the kids over here.
No, you won't. I'm expecting Dr. Hersey any minute.
Dr. Hersey? Maybe I better leave before he comes.
Why?
We don't use him anymore since he gypped us when little Ernie was born. Charged us $75.
That doesn't sound unreasonable.
Ernie was no $75 baby. He only weighed 4.5 pounds.
My, that's almost as expensive as a rump roast.
Well, we never paid him.
Come in.
Well, now, little lady, what's happened to you?
Oh, hello, Dr. Hersey. You remember my sister Clara?
Indeed I do. Haven't seen you in some time, Mrs. Dollop. How are you?
Very well.
And how is little Barney?
You mean Ernie. Barney's my husband.
Clara, if you've got shopping to do, why don't you just...
I was just leaving. Goodbye, Blanche.
Goodbye, Clara.
Now then, what's your problem?
Oh, I tripped on the stairs last night and hurt my ankle.
Well, you better let me have a look at it.
Pretty bad, isn't it? Well, isn't it?
No, I guess you're fortunate. There isn't a thing wrong with it.
Of course there is. It hurts.
Well, it may be a bit tender, but there's absolutely no damage. My advice to you is to get up and walk around on it, and you'll forget about it in an hour.
Would you mind putting a bandage on it?
Bandage?
Just so John feels he's getting his money's worth.
Hold your foot up.
You know, Doctor, I thought it was going to be heavenly spending a few days in bed, but just between us, it's gotten a little dull already. Wish we had a television set.
Say now, that reminds me. They're delivering my new set today. I was going to trade it in on my old one, but, well, you can have it if you like.
Well, I insist that we at least pay you what they offered on trade-in.
Well, if you insist.
It's a deal. How much did they offer?
$73.24. Call it 73 even.
Oh. Well, just add it to your bill for this call and send it to John's office.
All right, Mrs. Bickerson. There. How does the bandage feel?
Wonderful. Now it really feels like a sprained ankle.
Yes. Well, I'll just write out this prescription and we'll be all through.
Oh, good. Then I'll have something else to show John.
Oh, really, Mrs. Bickerson? Why do you need all these things to show John?
Well, you know, he's the jealous type, and he didn't even want me to send for you.
Oh, I can't believe that he'd be jealous of me.
Well, he is. You should hear the things he says about you.
What things?
Oh, all sorts of crazy things, like no matter what's wrong with the patient, you tell him to take 2 aspirin and call you in the morning. And, Dr. Hersey, why are you tearing up that prescription?
Hello, Bickerson.
Hello.
Hey, you really ought to start coming in earlier, fella. The old man's bound to notice it sooner or later.
Did he come in yet?
He just went out for lunch. Hey, how's the wife's ankle?
Same way. I haven't slept a wink for 5 nights.
Still can't walk, huh?
Not a step. I'm getting housemaid's knee from waiting on her. Where's my samples?
Under your desk. You going out on your route now?
Yeah. Why?
Nothing, only I wish you'd remember to take that apron off. You look like a Fuller Brush woman.
How would you like a punch in the nose, Marvin?
Oh, I'm just kidding, Bickerson. No need to get sore. Here's your mail.
Throw it in the basket. Probably just bills. Wait a minute. Let me look at those letters. Might be something there for my draft board.
You can't get off that easy. Here. Hey, you better pay that one. They'll really shut off your lights,
Can't
you
you
know.
keep your big nose out of my mail?
Sorry.
Here's one from my wife's doctor. Cheap buzzard couldn't even wait till the first of the month. Enclosed fine bill for 78.
Hey, Bickerson, what happened? Bickerson, talk to me, talk. Don't move. I'll get you a little bourbon and water.
Never mind the water.
What's wrong? What's wrong? What happened?
One visit and that medical thief sends me a bill for $78. $78.
Take it easy, Bickerson.
That quack has no right to charge me $78. There's nothing wrong with my wife but a measly sprained ankle. Where's my hat?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to make him reduce this bill. No doctor's going to charge me $78 for fixing my wife's ankle.
You can't bargain with a doctor.
Well, then I'll force him to take out her appendix.
Hello?
Dr. Hersey, this is Blanche Bickerson. Did you send the bill to John's office like you promised?
Yes, I did. Why?
Well, he hasn't mentioned it, and I was wondering if he got it. Did you add on the $73 for the television set?
Oh, certainly. You know you can trust me, Blanche. Oh, hello, Bickerson.
That's my wife. I want to talk to her.
Oh, no, it's just a patient with gallstone attack.
Hello?
Take 2 aspirins and call me back in the morning. Now, what's on your mind, Bickerson?
I just got your bill.
Well, and you promptly dropped in.
I nearly dropped dead. $78. For what? It isn't worth it.
Oh, now calm yourself, Bickerson. It isn't a lot of money when you consider the entertainment values.
What?
That $78 entitles you to many an evening's fun.
What's that got to do with you?
Now, look here, Bickerson. Anytime you're bored and think it's too expensive, I'll be glad to relieve you of your burden.
Now it comes out. I never did trust you, Hersey.
I don't see what you're complaining about, Bickerson. You got the best part of the bargain. Those legs are hand-rubbed.
Nobody asked you to rub them.
Maybe not, but it makes them last longer. I suppose you'd rather I left the job for you.
Yes, I would.
Well, there's still plenty to do if you've some ambition.
There is, huh?
Yes, how about a good shellacking?
How would you like a good shellacking?
Oh, I had enough of this, Bickerson. If you don't like the television set, bring it back.
If I don't like the what?
The television set I sold your wife. The one with the hand-rubbed legs.
So that's why the bill was $78.
Oh, did Mrs. Bickerson tell you about it? Oh, I guess she's saving it for a surprise.
Yes. That little devil.
Oh, you're going to really enjoy that television set. And you got it just in time.
I did, huh?
Yes, I understand there's going to be a big fight tonight.
You can count on that, Doc.
In a moment, we'll rejoin the happy Bickersons. Right now, it's time to join our roving reporter, Jay Jackson, for the story of his interview with an actual smoker in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, Jay Jackson.
Hello there. This is Jay Jackson. While we've been setting up our microphones here in the beautiful lobby of the Hotel Peabody in Memphis, Tennessee, my assistant has located a volunteer to try the Philip Morris nose test. How we doing, Frank?
All set, Jay. Jay, I'd like you to meet Mr. Wick Richardson of Memphis, Tennessee. Mr. Richardson is not a Philip Morris smoker.
Thank you, Frank. How do you do, Mr. Richardson?
How do you do?
Now, about this test, I'd like to ask you one favor first. Please, for obvious reasons, do not refer to your present cigarette by its brand name.
I
all right?
see.
Okay? All right, Mr. Richardson, now let me give you a Philip Morris cigarette.
Thank you.
There you are. And you have one of your own brand handy?
I do.
Good. Now, sir, which of the 2 cigarettes would you prefer to light first?
I'll light your cigarette
The
first.
Philip Morris first? All right, sir, let me light it for you. Then I want you to take a puff. Do not inhale, and let the smoke come slowly through your nose. That's the idea. That was the Philip Morris first, right, sir?
All right.
Now, Mr. Richardson, let's try exactly the same test with your own cigarette, which I notice is also one of the leading brands. I'll light it for you. You take a puff. Do not inhale, and let the smoke come slowly through your nose. There we are. Now, sir, you've tried exactly the same test with both cigarettes. First with the Philip Morris, then your own brand, right?
Right.
Tell me, Mr. Richardson, what difference, if any, did you notice between the two cigarettes?
The Philip Morris doesn't burn as much.
And you found the Philip Morris did not burn as much as your own brand. Well, Mr. Richardson, you've just confirmed the judgment of thousands of other smokers all over the country who have also found that Philip Morris is milder. Thank you very much.
Remember this. The test you just heard is entirely voluntary, and no payment whatsoever is made for any statement in the interview. Yes, try this test. Believe in yourself, and you too will believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. And now back to Francis Langford and Lew Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. It is now well past midnight. And the overworked John, who has spent 5 days as a household drudge in addition to his duties as a night nurse for his invalid wife, has just gone to the drugstore for medical supplies. Blanche is on the telephone with her sister, Clara. Listen.
Oh, it isn't so terrible, Clara. I needed the rest anyway. And John has been a perfect angel.
Oh, what did John say when he found out about the television set?
You only live 2 blocks away. Didn't you hear him?
He got mad, huh?
Only for a minute. But fortunately, my ankle began to hurt, and he shut up like a deer. I'd better get back in bed, Clara. John will be home any minute, and I don't want him to know I can walk around. Maybe he won't be so nice to me.
Well, don't be a fool and let on. Is your ankle black and blue?
It was, but it's fading now. I have to keep knocking it with a heavy spoon. Oh, I hear him coming now. Good night, dear. I'll call you tomorrow.
Oh, when am I going to get some sleep?
Is that you, John?
Who were you expecting?
What?
Nothing. Here's the stuff. Oh, I've got to get my clothes off.
Where'd you pick up that filthy, wet bar rag?
It's not a bar rag, it's my shirt. Had to mop up the floor in the drugstore.
What happened?
I bent over to tie my shoelace and one of the straps broke on my bourbon holster.
John Bickerson, you didn't wear that thing down to the drugstore.
Who didn't?
I can't believe you put it on.
I never take it off. Where's the funnel, Blanche?
Funnel?
Yes, funnel. I want to wring my shirt out in a bottle.
John, you're not...
No, I'm just going to put the light out in the bathroom.
I'd better set the alarm. He has to get up so early, poor thing. Where's my bed jacket? John? John? Now, what's he doing in there? John?
What's the matter? What's the matter, Blanche?
Come on out of there.
Come out of there. What happened?
You went in there to put out the light and you started snoring like a suction pump.
Put out the lights, Blanche. Good night.
Aren't you going to doctor me?
Blanche, there's nothing more I can do for your sprained ankle. Take an aspirin and go to sleep. I'm exhausted.
What did you do with the stuff from the drugstore, John?
It's on your night table.
You didn't bring everything.
Brought everything.
You got the liniment and the aspirin, the hot water bottle. But where's the elastic ankle bandage?
Isn't it there?
No.
Must have forgot it.
Go back and get it.
Can't. Drugstore's closed.
My ankle pains terribly.
I'll get your bandage in the morning.
What good is that? How do I know it'll still hurt in the morning?
I'll twist it. Please, Blanche, you can get along without the bandage. Just let me get a couple of hours rest.
Poor thing, I'm sorry, John. You really must be exhausted.
Dead.
You want to go to sleep?
Yes.
All right, dear. Make me something to eat.
Eat? I made you something to eat an hour ago. I made you dinner 2 hours before that. You've been eating all night like you were condemned.
Don't shout at me. I'm an invalid.
Okay. What do you want?
I don't want anything.
I didn't mean to holler. I'm just tired. Shall I warm up those eggs again?
No. They were too hard, and I can only eat soft-boiled eggs.
Well, I can't make them any softer. I boiled them for 20 minutes, and they still didn't get tender.
I'm not too hungry anyway.
Can I go to sleep now?
Yes, dear.
Put out the light.
In a minute.
Blanche, what are you doing?
I'm fixing my face. I have to get ready for bed, don't I?
You've been in bed 5 days. Every night you cream your elbows, spray your chin, roll your neck, just when I try to get some sleep. Put out the light.
I haven't finished my face yet.
Your face is finished.
No, it isn't. I have to let this grease pack set for 10 minutes, otherwise it has no effect.
Grease pack?
It's guaranteed to make you beautiful in 5 treatments. This is my 4th.
It is, huh?
Yes.
Boy, that 5th treatment must be a pip.
Oh, that's too bad about you, John Bickerson. Maybe your other girlfriends don't have to use face cream.
I had to open my big mouth.
What a fool I am. I go through torture to look good for you, and you reward me with insult.
What torture?
I just wish you had to spend a whole day under a permanent wave machine or have your eyebrows done.
Why do you have to wave your eyebrows?
I don't wave my eyebrows. I have them plucked.
What for?
Because it sets off my eyes and improves the lines of my face.
Your eyes are offset enough and you got plenty of lines in your face. You don't have to pluck your eyebrows for me.
Yes, I do.
You do not. I like them the way they are, nice and bushy.
That's a left-handed compliment if I ever heard one.
Well, I'm left-handed. Throw away that stuff and let me get some sleep.
I notice you never complain about Gloria Gooseby's makeup.
Now, don't start with Gloria Gooseby.
She has to struggle out of 12 pounds of cosmetics before you can even get close to her.
I always get close to her, and she never struggles.
What?
I mean, I hate the sight of Gloria Gooseby, and you know it.
It's not true. You made an absolute fool of yourself the way you followed her around at her cocktail party.
I wasn't following her. She was dragging me. She picked up a martini glass I hadn't finished yet.
Oh, sure. Bet I could have the men tagging after me, too, if I could afford the clothes she wears.
Your clothes are better than hers.
That's what you say.
If you want to know something, the dress she wore that night had a big rip in it.
Oh, you were seeing things.
I know, but she wore it just the same. Now, put out the lights. How much longer are you going to be with that grease pack, Blanche? I must get a few minutes' sleep.
I'm finished now. Good night, John.
Good night.
It wouldn't hurt you to kiss me good night, you know.
It hurts.
It's funny how 7 years of marriage can change a man. Before we were married, you'd stand in my living room every night and pucker up your lips the minute I came in. Why don't you do it now, John?
Because I'm too pooped to pucker.
Crotchety again. I knew it couldn't last.
Blanche, what do you want? I've done everything a human being could. Why don't you let me sleep?
I want to ask you a question, John.
In the morning.
No, tonight. If I die from this sprained ankle, will you marry again?
Not tonight.
Why don't you answer me, John? Will you ever marry again?
Never. I hope my nose drops off if I ever marry again.
If you had it to do all over, would you marry me?
Sure, if I had to.
Are you sure I haven't been too much of a bother for you?
No bother.
You've been awfully sweet. You're not angry because you've had to cook for me?
No, just go to sleep.
Well, I don't want to be a burden to you, John.
No burden.
You've been so affectionate up to now, and you seem to have changed.
No change.
Do you love me still?
I don't know. I never saw you that way.
Just tell me that you
Listen,
love
Blanche, I'm not going to tell you anything. I have to get up at the crack of dawn and wait on you because you can't walk. Then I have to go down to what... Is that the phone?
I'll get it, dear. Hello? Hello? That's funny. There's nobody on the line. I wonder who that was. Why are you staring at me like that, John?
I thought you couldn't walk.
Walk?
Yes, walk. How come you leaped out of bed like an acrobat? I thought you had a sprained ankle.
Are you angry with me, John?
Yes, I'm furious. What kind of a dirty trick is that?
Go on, hit me with a heavy spoon.
Why did you pretend to have a sprained ankle?
Well, I just wanted a little sympathy from you.
Blanche, you're the most selfish woman in the world. You're always killing yourself to get my sympathy. Last year, you had your adenoids removed. 6 months ago, you had your tonsils taken out. 2 weeks ago, you had 5 teeth pulled. You'll run out of parts before I run out of sympathy.
I'm sorry, John.
What a trick. I ought to take you over my...
Don't you dare threaten me, John Bickerson. I'm entitled to a little rest, too. I work just as hard as you do, and I never have any pleasure at all.
Okay,
I'm fed up with the way
okay.
you carry on about every little thing. What harm have I done? Just because I turned you into a human
Okay,
being.
let's go to sleep and forget about it.
No, we won't. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. You've had it come in for a long time. You think you're the only one who...
What's the matter?
My jaw can't talk.
You can't talk? Lie still. Don't touch it. I'll call Dr. Hersey. Now, don't be scared, Blanche. I'm sure it's only temporary.
Hello?
Dr. Hersey, this is John Bickerson.
Yes?
I think my wife has dislocated her jaw. She can't talk.
She can't move her jaw at all?
No. If you're in the neighborhood sometime next week, you might drop in. Good night. Good night, Blanche.
Good night, John.
Oh, what's the use?
In a moment, Francis Langford and Lou Parker will return for a curtain call. But first, may I make a friendly suggestion? You've heard the Philip Morris nose test. You've heard that Philip Morris is less irritating. Why not try that test? We believe you will find that Philip Morris is not only less irritating, but also more enjoyable, smoother, better tasting than any other cigarette. And now, once again, here are John and Blanche Bickerson as Francis Langford and Lou Parker.
Say, Franny, how are you coming along with your new picture?
Fine, Lou. Have you signed for one yet?
I was just going to tell you about that. Happened all because of this radio program, too.
Oh.
Last week, my wife was visiting a movie producer friend of ours, and she made him tune in our show. Right after the broadcast, my wife called me with the good news.
Lou, you mean...
Yep, she starts working tomorrow. Good night, Francis.
Good night, Lou.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Francis and Lou, for the curtain call. And for America's finest cigarette, here's another call well worth remembering. Be sure to listen next Tuesday night when Philip Morris again will present the Bickersons. And don't miss the Philip Morris Playhouse this coming Thursday night over this same station when Philip Morris will present Dan Duryea and Lucille Watson starring in Night Must Fall. That's Thursday night for the Philip Morris Playhouse over CBS. In the meantime, don't forget to... The Bickersons came to you transcribed from Hollywood, California. John Holbrook speaking. Philip Morris presents The Bickersons, produced, broadcast, and transcribed from Hollywood, starring Francis Langford and Lou Parker. Believe in yourself. Yes, believe in yourself. Compare Philip Morris. Match Philip Morris. Judge Philip Morris against any other brand. Then decide for yourself which cigarette is milder, tastier, more enjoyable. Believe in yourself, and you'll believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. They fight, they yell, they squabble and squawk, but they love each other as much as any married couple in the world. That's Francis Langford and Lou Parker, stars of Philip Raff's humorous creation, The Bickersons. And here is John Bickerson himself, Lou Parker.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening. Before Francis and I square off for our weekly marital mayhem, here is Miss Langford as her more lovable self, the GI's Purple Heart girlfriend. Francis?
Thank you.
Lanny, it's almost impossible to keep up with all the requests from the fellows in the service, but I think we should attend to this one. It's from the gang at the Walter Reed Hospital in Washington, D.C., and they want to hear you sing Falling in Love with Love.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. So with Tony Romano and the orchestra, this is for you, fellas.
Friends, in a moment, we'll have a look in at the Bickersons. But first, I'd like to have a word with the most important person in the world when it comes to choosing a cigarette. That person, of course, is you. We of Philip Morris believe that no one's taste is more important to you than your taste. No one's judgment is more important to you than your judgment. That's why we ask you to believe in yourself. That's why, unlike others, we of Philip Morris never ask you to test our brand alone. That's no test, because it gives you no choice. We say compare Philip Morris, match Philip Morris, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Then make your own choice according to your own taste, your own judgment. In short, believe in yourself. Later you'll hear an interview with an actual smoker, not an actor, not a paid performer, but a real person who will make the only fair cigarette test, the Philip Morris nose test. I know you'll be interested, so stay with us, won't you? Now, light up a Philip Morris, and let's join Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over.
John, hurry up and drink your orange juice before it gets cold.
Let it get cold. I don't like hot orange juice anyway.
It isn't hot. I just warmed it a little to take the chill off. You know you have to be careful about what you eat with your sensitive stomach, John.
Well, I don't want to eat anything. I just want to get these sales reports finished before I go to work.
Nonsense. I've already fixed your breakfast for you, and you're going to eat it. Or even a horse eats before he works. Here.
What is it?
Curried tapioca.
Give it to a horse. I wouldn't touch it.
What's the matter, John? Is business getting bad?
It's always been bad, but now it's getting worse. Let me finish these reports, will you, Blanche?
I don't know. For a man who doesn't make any sales, you certainly do a lot of paperwork.
I make plenty of sales. Look at this. You see this big pile of papers over here? Well, half of them are orders.
What about the other half?
Cancellations. Hand me that eraser, Blanche. I made another mistake on this order.
Well, why bother to correct it? It's a canceled order, isn't it?
Give me the eraser.
Oh, here.
Thanks. There, that does it. Books all balanced. Sales, $5,600. Cancellations, $5,600.
Well, I'll say one thing for you, John. You're the neatest failure I ever saw.
Now, don't start that again. I've got a steady job, and that's what counts. Where's my hat?
On the sideboard.
Where's my lunch?
In your hat. You'll be home early, won't you, John?
I'll try.
Never mind trying. Just do it. You've got a long drive ahead of us tonight, and I don't want to be late for the wedding.
What wedding?
Oh, come on, John. You know my cousin Agnes from Saugus is getting married tonight.
I give up. If that fish-faced cousin of yours could hook a husband, no man in the world is safe.
How can you say that, John? You know very well Agnes won a beauty contest last year at the canning factory.
A fine beauty contest winner, Miss Imported Sardine of 1950. Skinless and boneless division.
What do you care? You're not marrying her. You're only going to the wedding.
No, I'm not.
Of course you are, silly. I'm going to be the bridesmaid, and you're the best man. Now, be a good boy and buy a new tuxedo on your way to work.
What's wrong with the one I've got?
Oh, you can't wear that thing, John. It's out of style. Nobody's wearing seersucker tuxedos anymore.
It's not seersucker. It's crimped shark skin. All it needs is a pressing to cover up the shine in the coat.
Well, the pressing won't cover up the hole in the pants. Don't be so stingy, John. You can pick up a nice second-hand tuxedo for under $20.
I'm not stingy, Blanche. I just can't afford it.
You can, too. If I can afford a brand-new evening gown for $68, you can certainly afford a second-hand tuxedo.
I knew it. You only want to go to the wedding because you bought a... Wait a minute. We can't go anyway.
Why not, John?
I just remembered that I have to take inventory at the office tonight.
Oh, John.
Too bad. I would have loved going to that broken-down wedding, but that's the breaks of the game. Take that dress back, Blanche.
I can't. I've already had it altered.
Give it to me. I'll take it back. I'm not throwing away $68 because you had it altered. Where'd you buy this dress, Blanche?
At Fuller's. But, John, can't you try to get off from work just for tonight?
No.
It's such a pity. You're the best man, and the groom is depending on you.
What are you talking about? I never met him in my life. Why should he depend on me?
Well, he's very nervous, and he's liable to call off the wedding if you don't show up.
Oh. Well, in that case, I've got no choice in the matter.
You'll go?
Of course not. It's the least I can do for the poor sucker. Goodbye, Blanche. I'm going to return this dress to Fuller's before I go to work.
John, wait. You can't. Hello. Oh, Clara, how are you? Oh, I'm not so good. John's not going to the wedding. No, he's taking the dress back to Fuller's. What's that? I bought it at Plumber's. Good heavens. John! John! John!
Fuller's Department Store Adjustment Department, Grumper speaking. Yes, madam. I'm afraid you have the wrong department. You want alterations.
Is this the adjustment department?
That's right. Won't you sit down?
Well, I'm in a hurry. I just want to get a refund on this.
Certainly. Here at Fuller's, if you're not satisfied, your money will be cheerfully refunded.
Fine.
Yes, indeed. Cheerfully refunding money is a Fuller tradition handed down by our celebrated founder just before he went into the hands of the receivers.
Well, that's very interesting, but about this refund...
That's what we're here for. At Fuller's, your money is cheerfully refunded.
Well, that's just dandy. But if it's all the same to you, let's stop the cheerfulness and start the refunding.
Well, let's fill out this form.
Do we have to go through that?
Purely a formality. Now then, reason for refund. Doesn't fit, perhaps?
I don't know. I haven't tried it on.
Well, then we're hardly being fair to the garment, are we? Won't you try it on now?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because blue evening gowns clash with my purple garters.
Oh, it's a gown. How amusing.
Isn't it?
Now then, reason for refund?
I want my money back.
That's not a reason.
Can you think of a better one?
Very well. Give me your sales slip.
I haven't got one.
Then how are we supposed to know when this was bought? There are no refunds on anything after 2 weeks.
I bought it yesterday.
I have the files here. Do you mind if I take a quick run through them?
I don't care if you ride through them side saddle. I'm going to get my money back. Wasted half the morning for me already with your silly questions, senseless grilling, and idiotic chatter. Fine way to handle refunds. What you need here is somebody to adjust the adjustment department. And that somebody ought to have at least half a brain.
Are you quite finished?
Yeah, now give me my refund, and I'll tell you you'll never find me in here again.
You're right about that. At least not for some time.
What is that supposed to mean?
We have no record of this gown being sold.
Oh, you haven't?
No, and you have no sales slip. Somehow it all adds up.
It does it? What does it add up to?
Shoplifting. Oh, detective!
Hey, now, wait a minute. Just a minute. Take your hands off me. Wait.
Excuse me, could you direct me to... Well, thank you.
Oh, pardon me, miss. I was carried away by that gown. What were you saying?
I'd like to speak to John Bickerson.
Bickerson. Oh, yes, cell 13. I was about to go back there. We just got an order to release him.
Well, before you do, could you let me talk to him for a few minutes? I want him to promise me something before he finds out he's released. It's about a wedding.
Oh, I understand, miss. I never did know what he was picked up for.
Yes. Well, I haven't time to explain.
Anyway, there's another little matter before he can leave. The bill.
Bill?
1 pair of bent handcuffs, 2 back windows for the happy wagon, and the sergeant's eyeglasses, $47. I'm afraid Bickerson wasn't very happy with us.
Well, send him a statement.
All right. 3rd cell on the left, and good luck, miss.
Thanks. Hello, John.
Oh, it's you. I didn't recognize you in that getup.
How do I look?
Lovely.
Sure, but what good are fancy clothes when you're the wife of a jailbird?
I'm not a jailbird, and I'm going to sue that store for every nickel they've got for false arrest. Have you hired a lawyer?
No.
Why not?
Well, what have you ever done for me?
What?
I asked you to do one simple little thing, like taking me to my cousin's wedding, and you make up all kind of excuses to get out of it.
Those weren't excuses. I was supposed to take inventory tonight. Probably get fired for not even showing up.
Well, it's too late to worry about that. But there's still time to go to the wedding if you can get a parole.
What parole? I haven't been convicted of anything. If you just call that broken-down store and get them to drop the charges...
Will you take me to the wedding if I do?
Blanche, this is blackmail.
Mm-hmm. Will you?
To think that my own wife...
Will you take me to the wedding, John?
Even if I said yes, where could I get a tuxedo at this hour?
I've got one right here in this box. Compliments of Fuller's Department Store. Put it on.
Thought of everything, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I can't prove it, but I've got a sneaking suspicion you engineered this frame up all the way down the line.
Oh, John.
All right, you win. Get me out of here.
Well, rattle on the bars with your tin cup, dear.
Oh, what's the use? Hey, Screws!
Why, that's wonderful, John. You've adjusted to your environment perfectly.
Now, keep quiet. Where is that guy?
All right, take it easy. I'm coming. Gonna let you out now, Bickerson.
About the wedding, John. I know how you feel, but believe me, you won't regret this decision.
Oh, so you finally broke him down, huh, miss? Gotta hand it to you. Didn't even need a shotgun.
In a moment, we'll rejoin the happy Bickersons. Right now, it's time to join our roving reporter, Bob Pfeiffer, for the story of his interview with an actual smoker in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, Bob Pfeiffer.
Hello there, this is Bob Pfeiffer. While we've been setting up our microphone here in the heart of Louisville, Kentucky, my assistant, Frank Higgins, has been interviewing passers-by on 4th Avenue. Has located a volunteer to try the Philip Morris nose test. All set, Frank?
All set, Bob. Bob, I'd like you to meet Miss Beatrice Isaacs from Louisville, Kentucky. Miss Isaacs is not a Philip Morris smoker.
Thank you, Frank. How do you do, Miss Isaacs? About the test, may I ask you one favor? For obvious reasons, we don't want you to refer to your present cigarette by its brand name. Is that okay by you?
Yes, sir, it is.
Now let me offer you a Philip Morris, Miss Isaacs. And you have one of your own brand handy you could take out for me?
Yes, I do.
Then we'll be all set to go. Fine. Now, which cigarette would you like to try first, Miss Isaacs?
I'll try my brand.
Try your brand first? All right, I'll give you a light, then take a puff, do not inhale, and slowly let the smoke come through your nose. That's the way, Miss Isaacs. Now, that was your own brand, which I noticed was also one of the leading cigarettes. Now, let's try exactly the same test with the Philip Morris. Remember, I'll give you a light, then take a puff, do not inhale, slowly let the smoke come through your nose. All right, Miss Isaacs, by your own choice, you tried your brand first and then the Philip Morris. You made exactly the same test each time. What difference, if any, did you notice between the two cigarettes?
Well, I think Philip Morris is milder.
The Philip Morris is milder?
Yes, sir.
Miss Isaacs, you've just confirmed the judgment of thousands of other smokers who've also found that Philip Morris is milder. Thank you very much.
Remember this, the test you just heard is entirely voluntary, and no promise of any kind, no payment whatsoever is made for any statement in the interview. Friends, the Philip Morris nose test is the only fair test, for it allows you to compare, match, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Yes, try this test. Believe in yourself, and you too will believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. And now back to Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. The wedding of Blanche Bickerson's cousin Agnes turned out to be a big success for Cousin Agnes. For the Bickersons, it turned out to be a long ride home. Too long. So in a motel on Highway 99 in cabin number 13, the Bickersons have retired. Mrs. Bickerson tosses restlessly in her strange bed as poor husband John, victim of an obscure type of insomnia which attacks the patient only during the day, gives valid proof of his agonizing affliction. Listen.
I'd give anything to know what he's dreaming about. John! Turn over on your side. Go on. I heard such noises. You're giggling like a new bride. What are you dreaming about?
New bride.
What?
What? What's the matter, Blanche? What's the matter?
I hate this motel. We must have passed at least 50 others on the road. Why did you insist on stopping here?
This was the only one that had a vacancy.
Place gives me the creeps. I'm afraid to go to sleep, John.
What's the matter with you, Blanche?
There's all sorts of eerie sounds, and I swear I saw something moving outside the window.
Probably the wind.
No, it wasn't. I saw it distinctly. It was a terrifying shape with long ears and a head like a donkey.
Woman's afraid of her own shadow. There's no donkeys outside the window, Blanche.
Go and look.
Okay, put on the lights.
The lights are on. Take off your sleep shades.
Oh, you can think of more ways to keep me up. There's nothing outside the window, nothing. Are you satisfied?
I swear I saw something.
Put out the lights. Good night.
Good night. It was a wonderful wedding, wasn't it, John?
Wonderful.
Didn't my cousin Agnes look stunning in her wedding dress? And didn't Willie look handsome in your tuxedo?
Imagine that bum showing up for his own wedding and bagging blue jeans.
They weren't baggy. They looked fine on you.
Let me sleep, Blanche.
I think they'll make a wonderful couple, don't you, John?
Couple of what?
I hope they'll be as happy as we've been. In spite of all our little arguments, you are satisfied with our married life, aren't you, John? Aren't you?
What?
Are you satisfied with our married life?
Satisfied? I've had more than enough.
You see, you're the one who always starts it.
Blanche, I'm so sleepy I don't know what I'm saying. I have to get up at the crack of dawn, drive 60 miles, and then go to work. Why don't you have some consideration for me?
You're a fine one to talk about consideration. You're not even civil to me anymore. You come home from work, gobble your dinner, bury your head in the newspaper, and you're asleep and snoring before you know it. You don't even like to say good night to me.
You're wrong, Blanche. I love to say good night to you. Good night.
Sure, take the easy way out. Don't discuss things sensibly and try to reach a solution. Just go to sleep.
Fat chance.
I shouldn't talk to you at all after your behavior tonight.
There was nothing wrong with my behavior.
I suppose you thought it was all right to rumble with Willie and hand the bride a cigar. Poor little Agnes, she cried so hard she ruined her bridal veil.
She didn't need a veil. She could have combed her eyebrows straight down. First time I ever saw a bride with a crew haircut.
You stop that. Agnes had a beautiful cropped bob.
Yeah.
She may not be the prettiest girl in the world, but she's got a lot of charm. The boy who married her got a prize.
What was the prize?
Don't be sarcastic. We had no right to leave before the ceremony was over in the first place. I don't know why you rushed me away from there.
You know I have to be at the office at daybreak.
You did it to embarrass me.
I did not.
You did, too. Just because it was my cousin who was getting married. You've been to 50 weddings and always stayed for the ceremony. Did you ever regret it?
Only once.
Oh, that's too bad about you. You always make it sound like I got the bargain. I could have done better, I'm sure.
I swear, Blanche, sometimes I wish you'd have married the first idiot who proposed to you.
I did.
Very funny. Put out the lights.
All those promises you made when you were courting me. Makes me laugh to think of what you said when you proposed.
It doesn't make me laugh.
You were going to give me a life of luxury, 20 servants and a mansion. Did I ever doubt you? No. Did I investigate your bank account? No.
No.
Did I hire detectives to find out about your salary?
No.
Yes, I did.
What?
Yes, I did.
What'd you do that for?
Because I didn't know what you were getting when you married me.
Neither did I.
I don't know how any man can be so cruel. Is it any wonder I'm getting old before my time?
What time is it?
You have a habit of making me feel unwanted, so small and insignificant.
No.
Sometimes I think I'm going to dissolve into nothingness and disappear entirely.
You say it, but you won't do it.
So you finally revealed your true feelings.
I haven't revealed anything.
You haven't loved me for years, if you ever loved me at all. Always answer me in monosyllables, never interested in anything I do. The only thing I get from you at all is a shrug or a quick snort.
Thanks for reminding me.
What are you doing with that bottle, John?
I'm having a quick snort.
There's the answer to our problem, bourbon.
Now you're beginning to show some sense. How do you want it, straight?
I don't want it at all. If you hadn't had so much of it at the wedding tonight, you could have been able to drive me home.
My driving never interferes with my drinking. I'm sorry I ever went to your broken-down cousin's wedding.
Well, you sure showed it, too. Everybody kissed the bride except you.
Well, that proves I was sober.
You wouldn't hesitate if it was Gloria Gooseby.
Now, don't start with Gloria Gooseby.
I bet you'd stand in line if she was getting married.
She's already married, and I don't have to stand in line. I hate Gloria Gooseby. The next time I see her, I'm going to punch her husband, Leo, right in the nose.
What have you got against Leo? He's a better husband than you are.
And I'm sick of hearing that, too. Leo Gooseby is a cheap, chiseling bum.
He is not. He's more generous than you.
Generous? Would Leo Gooseby give you a new dress? No. Would he give you a new hat? No. Would he give you a mink coat?
Would you give me a mink coat?
No. Why should I give you anything Leo wouldn't give you? Now, let's stop wrangling and go to sleep.
Our whole marriage started on the wrong foot. We should have had a real ceremony like Agnes. But you were in too much of a hurry. Well, we've got plenty of time now, and I want a real wedding with a big ceremony. I want you to marry me again, John.
Good night.
Is that such an unreasonable request?
Yes, it isn't legal.
Why not?
A man can't be punished twice for the same crime.
Oh, that's too bad about you. Well, for your information, I've already sent out formal invitations to our wedding.
Are you out of your mind, Blanche? I'm not having any formal wedding, and I'm not putting out a lot of dough just to feed your hungry friends and their squalling brats.
There won't be any brats there at all.
How do you know?
Because it said plainly on the invitation, Mr. and Mrs. John Bickerson will be married September 12th. No children expected.
Put out the lights.
Not until you promise me to go through with it. I want to wear a wedding gown and a veil. Every woman's entitled to that.
No, stop it. They'll throw us out of here.
I wish they would.
I never heard of such a thing.
Oh, keep quiet and go to sleep.
Go to sleep, she says. Drags me 90 miles to see a crumb get married in my tuxedo. Makes me stay up at a rat trap overnight. Wants to wear a veil. Drives me crazy. Go to sleep, she tells me. I'll never sleep another wink as long... Hello? Blanche, the phone's dead. It's leaking.
Put down that bottle of bourbon.
Oh. Hello?
This is the desk clerk. You the man that left a call for 7:30?
Yes.
Well, it's 4 o'clock.
Well, what are you waking me now for?
I'm going off duty. My wife will call you at 7:30. Goodbye.
Drop dead. That's the last straw. Put out the lights, Blanche.
All right, dear. Good night.
Good night.
John.
What is it?
Are you angry with me?
No, I'm just sleepy.
Wouldn't you like to kiss me goodnight?
I'll kiss you goodnight in the morning.
Why can't you kiss me now?
I'm not facing that way. Good night, Blanche.
John, I have something important to tell you.
Tell me tomorrow.
Do you realize I'm the only woman in my set who doesn't have an engagement ring?
You have, too. I gave you a beautiful ring, 14-karat gold filled. And it had an enormous hole in the top for a diamond.
I bought a diamond ring for $300.
Blanche, you didn't.
I had to. After living with you for 7 years, I was ashamed to face my friends. They were starting to talk.
About what?
About us. Everybody knows we're not legally engaged.
Blanche, are you insane? How can you squander $300 on a diamond ring?
Don't scream at me.
I deny myself everything. I've been cutting your bloomers in half and wearing them for shirt sleeves. I've been using chicken fat for hair tonic. My only bathing suit has a hole in the knee. I haven't spent a nickel on myself, and she buys diamonds.
You bought a sack of popcorn yesterday.
What popcorn? That was my teeth. They fell out from malnutrition. Where's that ring, Blanche? Let me see it.
Here.
There's no diamond in this ring. It's the same one I bought you.
Didn't buy anything, silly. Why would I spend $300 on a diamond ring when we haven't got enough to eat? Who am I going to fool? My friends know we're paupers.
Oh, they do, huh?
Certainly. They laugh up their sleeves every time they see me wear that ring with a hole in it.
Is that so? Well, I'll put a stop to that, honey. I'll take it to the jeweler's in the morning.
John, are you going to put a diamond in it?
No, I'm going to plug up the hole. Good night, Blanche.
Good night, John.
Francis Langford and Lou Parker are standing by for a curtain call. In the meantime, for America's finest cigarette, here's another call well worth remembering.
Call for Philip Morris.
Remember, Philip Morris is definitely less irritating, definitely milder than any other leading brand. Remember, no cigarette hangover means more smoking pleasure. So,
Call for Philip Morris.
now here are John and Blanche Bickerson as Francis Langford and Lou Parker.
Oh, Lou, have you seen this package that arrived for you among the fan mail?
I know. What is it, Francis?
It's a little gadget to encourage sleep. It's called an anti-snore ball.
Oh, isn't that cute? Just because I snore on the program, I guess people think that I actually snore at home.
Well, do you?
Of course not. As a matter of fact, I'm a very quiet sleeper.
Well, here's your snore ball.
Thanks, Franny. Incidentally, who sent it in?
Your wife. Good night, Lou.
Good night, Francis. Everybody.
Don't miss the Horace Heights Show this coming Sunday night over this same station. That's Sunday night over CBS. In the meantime, don't forget to... The Bickersons came to you transcribed from Hollywood, California. Tonight's cast included Peter Leeds and Herb Vigran. This is John Holbrook speaking. Philip Morris presents The Bickersons, produced, broadcast, and transcribed from Hollywood, starring Francis Langford and Lou Parker. Believe in yourself. Yes, believe in yourself. Pair Philip Morris. Match Philip Morris. Judge Philip Morris against any other brand. Then decide for yourself which cigarette is milder, tastier, more enjoyable. Believe in yourself. and you'll believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette.
Oh, for Philip Morris!
They fight, they yell, they squabble and squawk, but they love each other as much as any married couple in the world. That's Frances Langford and Lou Parker, stars of Philip Rapp's humorous creation, The Bickersons. And here is John Bickerson himself, Lou Parker.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening. Before we don the gloves for our weekly Bickerson bout, I'd like to present my marital sparring partner in another role. Here she is, your Purple Heart girlfriend, Miss Frances Langford.
Thank you.
Franny, we received a lot of requests this week from servicemen at the Oak Knoll Hospital in Oakland. The fellows would like to hear you sing Beyond the Blue Horizon.
It's my pleasure, Lou. So with the help of Tony Romano and his orchestra, this is for you, boys. Beyond the blue horizon waits a beautiful day. Goodbye to things that bore me. Joy is waiting for me. I see a new horizon. My life has only begun. Beyond the blue horizon waits a setting sun. My life has only begun. Beyond the blue horizon waits a setting
Friends, in a moment, we'll have a look in at the Bickersons. But first, I'd like to have a word with the most important person in the world when it comes to choosing a cigarette. And that person, of course, is you. We of Philip Morris believe that no one's taste is more important to you than your taste. No one's judgment is more important to you than your judgment. That's why we ask you to believe in yourself. That's why, unlike others, we of Philip Morris never ask you to test our brand alone. That's no test, because it gives you no choice. We say compare Philip Morris, match Philip Morris, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Then make your own choice according to your own taste, your own judgment. In short, believe in yourself. Later you'll hear an interview with an actual smoker, not an actor, not a paid performer, but a real person who will make the only fair cigarette test, the Philip Morris nose test. I know you'll be interested, so stay with us, won't you? Now, light up a Philip Morris, and let's join Frances Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over.
Every morning it's the same thing. Rush, rush, rush. Get up at 7 and make breakfast for you, then clear the things away, straighten the house, make the bed, do the shopping, do the laundry. Why can't I have a maid, John? John! John Bickerson, how can you fall asleep at the breakfast table?
It ain't easy with all that talking going on. Wake me in 5 minutes, Blanche.
Take your face out of the oatmeal and sit up straight.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
I don't know why I bother to make breakfast for you anyway. You never eat it. What's wrong with the oatmeal, John?
Too lumpy.
How do you know? You didn't taste it.
Didn't have to taste it. I got a lump on my head.
Got it all over your clothes, too. You can't go to work looking like that. Go in and change your suit.
What for? My other suit looks worse.
No, it doesn't. I had it cleaned.
Clean? You had no right to do that. Who told you to have my suit cleaned?
What's wrong with you, John? There was a big stain on the lapel. It was filthy.
What do you mean, filthy? That was a bourbon stain. Been saving it for months.
What for?
In case there's liquor rationing, I don't want to be caught short. Where's my hat, Blanche? I've got a big day ahead of me, and I'm so tired I can't keep my eyes open.
Well, it's your own fault if you're tired every morning. Your snoring keeps you awake.
You keep me awake.
It amounts to the same thing. Your snoring wakes me up, and I wake you up to stop it. Why don't you have an operation?
What are you talking about? There's no operation to cure snoring.
Yes, there is. I cut an article out of the paper about a snore doctor. His name is Dr. Rasper.
Dr. Rasper?
He was the head of surgery at a goat clinic in Salzburg.
Goats don't snore.
I know they don't. He just used them for experiments. Can't hurt you to let him try, can it?
Blanche, I can't afford any operations. I haven't had a single order in 3 weeks.
Well, maybe there's an order in that letter that came for you.
What letter?
It arrived yesterday. It's in a big, fat, official-looking envelope.
Well, why didn't you tell me yesterday?
I wasn't talking to you yesterday.
Where is it? Where's the letter?
I sent it back to the post office.
Blanche, that letter might contain a big order. What did you send it back for?
There was 28 cents postage due on it, and I didn't want to break $1. Pick it up on your way to work.
Lend me 28 cents for the postage due.
Here. Now, John, you've got to promise me that you'll go through with the operation to cure your snoring.
Oh, forget about that quack doctor.
He's not a quack. Just listen to what the newspaper
I
says.
haven't time.
It'll only take a minute. Listen. Dr. Hugo Rasper, eminent respiratory surgeon, has accepted a residency at Park Haven Hospital. The doctor, a former goat specialist, attained national prominence through his many experiments on snoring. Among his most celebrated patients were the late Lord Martin, the late Charles Canterbury, and the late Countess... John, where are you going?
I'm going out of here before you make me the late John Bickerson.
I'm getting dressed. Be right in.
I was down at the market shopping. I never saw such prices. Can you lend me some eggs, Blanche?
You were down at the market. Why didn't you buy some?
At 93 cents a dozen?
That's what we pay. I don't lay them myself, you know.
Forget about the eggs. What are you putting on those old rags for?
Well, I've got to see a doctor.
What's wrong with you?
Not me. It's John. Clara, does Barney ever disturb you in the middle of the night?
Terribly. He sleeps with a smile on his face. If I ever find out who he's dreaming about, I'll kill him.
Well, John snores, and he's driving me mad. I'm going to arrange to have him operated on.
Who are you going to? Dr. Hersey?
No, Dr. Rasper. He's a surgeon who just arrived in town, and there's a whole article in today's paper about his new operation to cure snorers.
Dr. Hersey's going to be terribly hurt. All these years you've sort of been promising him John's nose, and here you are giving it to a perfect stranger.
Well, Dr. Rasper's a specialist. Dr. Hersey can have any other part of John he wants. I just want this snoring operation to be perfect.
Doesn't sound good to me.
Well, listen, Clara, in case I get detained at the hospital, would you kind of look in on our animals?
Well, what do you feed them?
Well, the canary gets tomato juice, the goldfish gets hamburger, and the cat gets a can of Puss in Boots.
You give that to the cat? I've been feeding it to Barney.
Does he like it?
Loves it. And you ought to see the way his eyes shine in the dark.
Well, I've got to go and make arrangements for the doctor now.
Blanche, look, I don't want to mix in, but do you think John will agree to be operated on? You know how he always screams about money.
Yes, but there's a special delivery letter for him at the post office, and John seemed to think it was a big order. He gets a commission on every bowling ball he sells, you know.
But an operation might cost hundreds of dollars.
Well, Dr. Rasper has a convenient credit plan, and the way it works is that you're completely healed the day you make your last payment. Now, suppose this big order is for, say, 20 bowling balls a week. How long would it take John to make $300 if his commission is 1.5 cents a ball?
I don't know, but it seems like an awful long time for a man to have his nose in a sling.
Next. You got a special delivery letter here for John Bickerson?
Oh, you want the dead letter window. You're on the wrong line.
I've been on 6 lines. Dead letters, stamps, parcel post, registered letters, money orders, and complaint department. I've been kicked back and forth in this building like a used Republican.
Would you mind lowering your voice? Part of our civil service examination is a hearing test.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, it is. I happen to be a government employee, you know.
I don't care if you're Margaret Truman. I'm a taxpayer.
This is not the Bureau of Internal Revenue.
There's a lot of things it's not, including a post office.
Yeah.
But there's a special delivery letter here for me, and I'm gonna get it. Why did you break our weighing scale? I didn't break it. It must have been weak. Now, where's my letter? And don't tell me you haven't got it, or I'll have you arrested for robbing the mail.
I'm looking for your letter now.
Wasted a whole morning in this broken-down post office.
Oh, here we are. Homer Fickett.
Bickerson's the name. John Bickerson.
Sorry, nothing with that name.
What about that one on top? That looks like my name. Let me see it. It is mine. But I've lost out on a big order on account of your stupidity. What the devil is this?
Looks like an advertising circular.
Dear fellow sufferer, Dr. Rasper can end your snoring forever.
In a moment, we'll join the happy Bickersons. Right now, it's time to join our roving reporter, Jay Jackson, for the story of his interview with an actual smoker in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, Jay Jackson.
Hello there. This is Jay Jackson. While we've been setting up our microphones here in the beautiful lobby of the Hotel Peabody in Memphis, my assistant has been talking to some of the guests and has located a volunteer to take the Philip Morris nose test. Are we all set, Frank?
All set, Jay. Jay, I'd like you to meet Mrs. Frank Marshall of Memphis, Tennessee. Mrs. Marshall is not a Philip Morris smoker.
Thank you, Frank. How do you do, Mrs. Marshall?
Fine, thank you.
Now, about this test, I'd like to ask you one favor first. For obvious reasons, don't refer to your present cigarette, please, by its brand name. All right? All right, Mrs. Marshall. Now, let me offer you a Philip Morris cigarette. There we are. Do you have one of your own brand handy?
Yes, I do.
Good. Now, which of the 2 cigarettes would you prefer to light first?
Oh, it doesn't make any difference.
Well, suppose you make the choice.
All right, I'll light the Philip Morris.
Philip Morris first. All right. Now, I'll light it for you, then I want you to take a puff. Do not inhale. Let the smoke come slowly through your nose. That's the idea. And that was the Philip Morris first, right?
That was.
Now, Mrs. Marshall, let's try exactly the same test with your own cigarette, which I noticed is also one of the leading brands. I'll light it for you. I want you to take a puff. Do not inhale, and let the smoke come slowly through your nose. There we are. Now, Mrs. Marshall, you've tried exactly the same test with both cigarettes. First with the Philip Morris, then your own brand, right?
Right.
Tell me, please, what difference, if any, did you notice between the 2 cigarettes?
Well, the Philip Morris seemed much milder.
You found the Philip Morris milder than your own cigarette?
I did.
Well, Mrs. Marshall, you've just confirmed the judgment of thousands of other smokers all over the country who have also found that Philip Morris is milder. Thank you so much.
All right.
Remember this, the test you just heard is entirely voluntary, and no promise of any kind, no payment whatsoever is made for any statement in the interview. Friends, the Philip Morris nose test is the only fair test, for it allows you to compare, match, judge Philip Morris against any other cigarette. Yes, try this test. Believe in yourself, and you too will believe in Philip Morris, America's finest cigarette. And now, once again, here are Francis Langford and Lou Parker as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. Well, even the persistent dripping of water will eventually wear away a stone. So after 7 years of cycloid insomnia, or Blaster's reaction, John Bickerson has finally yielded to Blanche's demands and consented to allow a specialist to relieve his condition. Outside his room at the Park Haven Hospital, Blanche Bickerson has a last-minute conversation with Dr. Rasper. Listen.
He's all right, Mrs. Bickerson. The nurse is giving him a sedative now.
Nothing can go wrong, can it, Dr. Rasper?
He won't be in surgery over 15 minutes, and there's absolutely no danger whatever.
What causes a man to snore like that, Doctor?
Well, he's a mouth breather, very likely suffering from Klinefelter-Stürder, a respiratory disorder resulting from a postpharyngeal condition. Does he drink anything?
Anything. The operation won't hurt, will it?
Not the slightest. All we have to do is take a stitch in his palate and shorten his uvula.
Well, I hate to bring this up now, Dr. Rasper, but how much will it cost?
The fee will be $50 with the anesthetic.
How much is it without the anesthetic?
I should say about $40, but I wouldn't advise the operation without it.
All right, Dr. Rasper.
I think you better run along, Mrs. Bickerson. It's past midnight. He's got to get a good night's rest, and you can come and see him in the morning.
Well, I'll just look in on him to make sure he's sleeping.
Very well. Good night, Mrs. Bickerson.
Good night, Doctor. Sounds like he left one of his goats here. Isn't that awful? Dear, I must see that he gets a good night's rest. John, wake up.
What's the matter, Blanche? What's the matter?
How can you sleep like that?
I cleaned the kitchen, I plucked the canary, I scaled the goldfish, and I milked the cat. Everything's taken care of. Let me sleep.
John, what are you talking about? We're in the hospital.
Who's sick?
Nobody's sick. You're going to have an operation. Dr. Rasper's going to shorten your uvula in the morning.
And what did you wake me up now for?
The way you were snoring, I was afraid you'd wear it off before I got a chance to operate.
I don't know why I let you talk me into this. Who made that broken-down Dr. Rasper such an authority on... Stop cranking the bed up. What are you doing, Blanche?
You weren't sleeping properly, and I'm supposed to see that you get a good night's rest.
I was sleeping fine. Why did you tilt me like this?
I was afraid the snores would roll down your throat and poison you.
Blanche, will you please crank me down?
You keep your voice down, John Bickerson. You're disturbing the other patients. I still don't know why you have to have an operation to cure your snoring.
I didn't want it. You've been working on me for 7 years to do it.
I'm beginning to think it's a waste of money. I could have used that $50. Still walking around in a short dress.
What are you beefing about? Tomorrow I'll be walking around in a short uvula. Put out the lights.
You mustn't excite yourself, dear. Open your mouth.
What for?
Just hand me that thermometer. I want to take your temperature.
Blanche, they took my temperature 8 different ways.
Well, I'm going to check it again before we go to sleep.
We? Blanche, what are you doing in your nightgown? You're not going to sleep here, are you?
Yes, I am. It only costs $5 extra to have that cot moved in here, and that silly night nurse gets $10 a day.
What about it?
Well, I'm going to take her place and save the money. Now, open your mouth like a good boy. There. Keep that thermometer in there while I check your pulse. There isn't any nurse that can do anything that I can. There, your pulse is normal. It's steady as clockwork.
You've got your fingers on my wristwatch.
You shouldn't be wearing a wristwatch. Not good to have constriction when you're sleeping. Let me see that thermometer.
Yeah. What does it say?
Murphy's Bar and Grill. What was this swizzle stick doing in that glass?
I had them deliver me a highball. And if you think that hot water bottle is full of hot water, you're out of your mind.
That bourbon. If Dr. Rasper knew about this, he wouldn't operate on you.
Why don't you tell him? I'd love it.
Now, please don't get excited, dear. It's my job to see that you get a good night's rest, and I'm not going to let anything disturb you.
Well, put out the lights.
I want to be sure that you have the right sleeping position. Now, stretch your feet out a little more. And move over in the center. Don't bury your head that way. There. Are you comfortable?
Fine.
Relaxed? Will you be able to sleep well?
Sleep well.
That's fine. Now get up and unpack my bag.
Pack your bag? I thought you were putting me to sleep.
I was just testing. Unpack my bag, John.
Why don't you unpack it?
I have to refill this hot water bottle.
I don't need any hot water bottle.
Not for you, it's for me.
What?
I still have a little indigestion from those clams I ate for dinner. You always take me to those cheap restaurants. Whole dinner disagreed with me.
It wouldn't dare.
Now, don't start getting irritable. I've done plenty for you, so you can do something for me. Unpack my bag, John.
Where's my slipper? Did you bring my slipper?
It's under the bed in that little foot bath.
Foot bath? Big nurse. Look at the size of this suitcase. What did you bring it for? We're only staying one night.
You never can tell. Put the stuff away.
There's no closet. Where'll I put these dresses?
In the drawers.
Where do you want these drawers?
In the dresser.
Did you Okay, now I can get some... Blanche,
Crank me up, John.
what are you doing in my bed? I'm the one who's getting operated on. You have no right to be in my bed eating fruit and candy. Maybe you'd like me to send you some flowers.
No, but tell the floor nurse I can have visitors between 2 and 4 tomorrow. I'll feel better then.
Am I supposed to sleep in that old wooden cot?
Yes, it's easier to watch over you from here.
There's nothing but a spring on this cot, not even a mattress.
Well, that'll keep you off your back and you won't snore tonight. Just crawl between the blankets. I want you to be well rested for the operation.
Put out the lights.
In a minute. Was everything all right at the house when you left?
Fine.
I would have checked things myself if I didn't have to prepare you for your admission here. Maybe I should have stayed home. John, I'm worried about the house.
Don't worry.
I think I left the electric heater on in the bathroom. It might burn the place up.
Won't burn.
Did you turn it off?
No.
Well, how do you know it won't start a fire?
I left the water running in the bathtub. Oh, stop popping your topper. I checked everything.
We should have taken the animals with us. Poor little canary is locked in the cage, and cat can't get out of the house, and who's going to feed the goldfish? I'll bet they're terribly unhappy.
Oh, they're not unhappy. They're having a fine vacation.
They are not.
They are, too. When I left, the cat was fishing.
Fishing? Where?
In the goldfish bowl, and he was using the canary for bait. The canary and the goldfish are fine, and I wish the cat would drop dead.
Why are you so mean?
I'm not mean. I'm full of those sleeping pills, and I can't keep my eyes open. Now, put out the lights.
I'll be through in a minute.
Blanche, why are you plucking your eyebrows at this time of night?
I'm not plucking my eyebrows. I'm taking off my false eyelashes.
False eyelashes? I didn't know you had bald eyelids.
My eyelids are not bald. It's just that my lashes are short and they don't bring out my eyes. Lots of women use false eyelashes.
Well, throw them away. You don't need anything to bring out your eyes.
I do, too.
You do not. I'm satisfied with the way they bulge now. Are you going to let me get some sleep?
Yes, dear. Just close your eyes. I'm going to read the paper for a little while.
Read the paper.
There's certainly a lot of activity in Washington. What's all this tax reduction talk?
Talk.
Listen to what Senator
Blanche, I read the paper, every word of it. Read it to yourself.
Don't be so disagreeable. Dr. Rasper told me to keep you occupied so you won't think about the operation.
All I'm thinking about is sleep.
That's a good boy. Mustn't get nervous. You see what's happening to the stock market?
It's going to pieces.
Well, why can't we get a piece of it?
Put away the paper, Blanche.
What's the name of that stock you bought last year?
I told you 50 times. Kentucky saltpeter mines. Preferred.
Can't even find it listed on the stock page.
Look in the help wanted column.
Oh, listen to this. Here's a story about a doctor who left a pair of scissors inside...
Blanche, will you stop reading to me? I'm nervous and jittery about the operation, and I can't stand the sound of your voice.
I can just hear you making those insulting remarks to Gloria Gooseby.
Now, don't start with Gloria Gooseby.
You wouldn't bite her head off like that without her squealing all over the place.
I always bite her, and she never squeals.
What?
This is one night I don't want to hear about it.
Hush up and go to sleep.
Go to sleep, she tells me. In the morning, they're going to cut out my uvula. Steams me up about Gloria... What's that?
It's the telephone. Answer it.
Why don't you answer it? It's right next to your bed.
I'm not supposed to be here. It might be the hospital superintendent, and I don't want him to find out. Go on and answer it.
Can't even get any rest in a hospital. Hello?
Mrs. Kimford?
Huh?
The maternity nurse asked me to call you. You can get ready now. They're bringing your baby in for his 1 o'clock feeding.
What?
Isn't this room 413?
I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeding any babies. What kind of a hospital is this? I'm going to get out of here.
Now, don't go getting hysterical. Just relax.
How can I relax?
Well, I'm doing my best to see that you get a good night's sleep. I'm so worried I won't be able to close my eyes tonight.
What are you worried about? I thought you said it was only a minor operation.
Well, I don't care about that. I'm worried about Nature Boy.
Who's Nature Boy?
The cat. How is he going to get out tonight?
What does he want to get out for?
John, don't you know it's impossible for certain creatures to be shut up for the night?
How well I know it. Why don't you go to sleep, Blanche?
I can't sleep. I must find out if the cat's all right. Maybe you ought to call him, John.
Okay, what'll I call him?
No, I mean call him on the telephone.
Have you gone stark, staring mad, Blanche? How can I call a cat on the telephone?
He'll know it's us, and the ringing of the phone will comfort him. Go on, call Nature Boy. It won't cost anything.
Nobody would believe this. Calling a cat at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Operator.
Get me state 79970.
State 79970. Thank you.
How much can a man stand of this sort of stuff before he cracks up?
Oh, don't be so tragic. A lot of people call their pets up. Any sound in the house to break the monotony makes them feel better.
Sure.
There's no answer. Shall I keep ringing?
Just a minute. How many times you wanted to ring, Blanche?
You sure she has the right number?
Operator, you sure it's the right number?
I'll try it again.
Oh. Hello, Nature Boy? Are you all right?
Fine.
Good. I left a big dish of catnip under the sink. Don't touch the canary.
Okay.
Goodbye. There, the cat feels fine. Blanche! Who answered that phone?
I thought you were kidding. Did somebody answer?
It must have been the wrong number.
You think so, John?
Of course I think so. Don't start making you believe that a cat can talk. Blanche, I can't stand any more of this. I'm going home.
You get right back in that bed. Dr. Rasper will never forgive me if you run out on him.
I don't care. I don't trust that doctor, and I don't believe he knows what he's doing. I'm getting out of here.
You are not. Everything's been prepared. The surgery, the nurses, the anesthetic. They'll think you're crazy, John.
Blanche, it won't work, I tell you. There's no operation that can cure snoring. The guy's a fake. What's he charging you?
$50.
Blanche, I appeal to your sense of economy. I'm a perfectly healthy guy. Never been sick a day in my life. That snoring operation won't work, and we'll be out $50.
We won't be out a penny. I made a deal with Dr. Rasper.
What deal?
If the operation isn't a success, he's going to take out your liver and appendix for nothing.
Good night, Blanche.
Good night.
Francis Langford and Lou Parker are standing by for a curtain call. In the meantime, for America's finest cigarette, here's another call well worth remembering.
Call for Philip Morris.
Remember, Philip Morris is definitely less irritating, definitely milder than any other leading brand. Remember, no cigarette hangover means more smoking pleasure. So,
Call for Philip Morris.
and now here are John and Blanche Bickerson as Francis Langford and Lou Parker.
Say, Lou, I was talking to your wife yesterday, and she told me you just bought a big ranch out in the valley.
That's right, Francis. You know, my wife is a city girl, and she doesn't know as much about ranch life as I do. We'd like you to come out and see the place, though.
I'd love to see it, Lou.
Well, it's only half an acre, but it's got good grass on it, and our livestock is thriving.
Livestock? What have you got, chickens?
No?
Pigs? Cows?
Oh, nothing like that.
Well, what kind of livestock are you raising?
Gophers.
Good night.
Good night, Francis. Good night, everyone.
Be sure to listen next Tuesday night when Philip Morris again will present the Bickersons. And don't miss the Philip Morris Playhouse this coming Thursday night over this same station, when Philip Morris will present An Inspector Calls. That's Thursday night for the Philip Morris Playhouse over CBS. In the meantime, don't forget to
Call for Philip Morris.
The Bickersons came to you transcribed from Hollywood, California. Tonight's cast included Shirley Mitchell, Peter Leeds, and John Brown. This is John Holbrook speaking.